personally, I think I wouldn't be the only one who feels that way. I like the Yone ban. You know, it's an AP jungle meta. I'm sure Raptor can play some sort of AP jungle. Closer is a fantastic Yone. Just take it away. Not a bad idea. Will they ban Akali? I mean, maybe not in this meta. There are other picks that are very high tier, including Kalista, which they will ban instead.
He's 24, by the way.
24?
Yeah, checked it out. Now we know Raptor going to be the big question mark coming in today, not because we haven't seen him at all yet in the LCK, but because Wheeler in a carry jungle meta was what many people were expecting. Did have a series in Challengers, played a decent series, but not enough to actually make it work. We'll see here today. These first couple of series might feel like, you know, it's week one. How much impact could this have? But particularly for these two teams, both of their goals is just to make that 6th place, right? And these wins against your fellow expected to be Eastern teams are actually really, really important. That can be the difference maker between being in a position where you end up making it or not, right? Kwangdong has had, they made it last time around, but we all remember what happened last year.
Yeah. And
it's banned. We're free.
It is banned. Corki, another strong pick. We saw it once in the last series. It didn't really have much success because the Skarner was just unkillable and lethal lethality. So, you know, Jiu or Fisher might be jumping onto this pick. We'll have to wait and see how they go with it. They do first pick it, so obviously saying, hey, this is a strong pick given what has been banned. Tristana's taken away as another one of those mid-AD champs, so I kind of like it in this scenario. It's flexible, as Varus is going to be coming through here first for the NK Furex.
Taliyah being picked up. Veldas already hinted towards it earlier. Should not come as a surprise. Haven't seen this specific combo just yet, but it remains very, very strong. Might be a little bit of a hint as well. Rumble has been taken away, so Ashe Rumble isn't a possibility here for Nongshim. That is a combo that I think remains insanely tough to deal with. The Vi also shoots up in priority when a Taliyah has already been locked in. The Vi-Taliyah combo we saw in the first series of today be used, especially with a Rakan, to a very high level of proficiency. Jhin right now is actually in a really good spot. Feels quite strong. And there's going to be the lock-in here for Jiu.
Yep, Jhin gets locked in. Nidalee was very high on the pick ladder, the tier list in our last series, and it will be picked here once again alongside of already Jhin and Corki. It's a nice damage profile. You don't have too much setup with these 3 champs, but going to be looking for that in the second phase.
Might look towards definitely like a Nautilus or Leona, and then maybe a tank in the top lane for Dundon, as unsurprisingly Raptor will be locking in the Vi here. BNK Furex, you could show me this first part of the draft, and this could be any team in any series in the last like year and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look to the left, right, the Jhin, we see a lot. Corki, Nidalee actually once upon a time, you know, could have maybe been a thing, but Corki right now, not necessarily a poke champion, just much more of an AD threat. We'll see to what extent Nongshim is going to be able to utilize these picks, because specifically for them, they have had really great games where they snowball early and they just kind of close out the game from there, but they start falling behind. If they don't get leads, their macro is all over the place.
Yeah. These bans coming in already are pretty interesting. The Renekton Nidalee, a very strong combo, offers you a lot of setup. Leona as well. Jhin Leona, be very strong, offers you a lot of CC from the support role, so that's taken away. The Nautilus still available, but maybe they just say, hey, we're going to pick it, Varus Nautilus, here for the next rotation. But TF ban comes out, so maybe you're thinking about some of those other top laners. You know, Casante's still available. And the TF off the cards might make that lane even better. The Vayne also banned here, so they're kind of setting up for that top lane tank pick.
We're setting up for a Casante.
Yeah.
If BNK don't lock in Casante here, that's 100% going to be the direction they're looking.
Well, it's either you take Nautilus and then you give over Casante, or
exactly.
you take Casante and you give over Nautilus.
It's a good trap. The Nautilus is gonna be taken here. Oh, they want to pair with the Jhin here. Casante, though, that one feels like a no-brainer. I'm sure they'll take the time to lock it in. Absolutely not. If you say Nami next, I will be very disappointed at you. Rel, is one that makes a lot of sense to me. This is blind, so realistically, we know what's about to transpire here. It's also Dundun. Ironically, Mahal, the player that got called up, is known to be a big Cassante enjoyer.
Yeah.
Won't be seeing him, at least for now. I actually quite like the Bard. Do think Bard into these type of engage champions can be quite strong, and there are 2 stationary carries on the enemy team. Rel also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Provides a lot more engage than the Bard will, while still having the setup the rest of the team desperately needs.
And now we just need not an AD carry. We do need a top laner for the top side.
Well, they might play Varus top, right?
I guess so. But it is going to be Gnar that does get locked in. And at the end of the day, it does feel like, you know, on the side of Nongshim Red Force, they rounded out their composition with a lot of... They had a lot of poke already, a lot of damage, so they get a couple of these beefy frontliners that have CC, so they do a good job there. And the Gnar comes out for the top lane. No Varus top lane. And they will have that pick once again for them. And obviously a lot of setup with the Vitalia already and the Nautilus.
Gonna wonder how Nongshim is going to look here, because realistically, I don't think that the playstyle for Fearax will be any different, or for BNK rather, will be any different. Our expectation is that they will play a very aggressive game, trying to look for those mid-jungle picks. Execute will go in. Will it be a good idea? Will it be a bad idea? I don't think it really matters.
At least he's playing an engaged support.
That's not really what he's about. But he's gonna go in. He's gonna end up hooking people. But Nongshim, how do they look after all these changes that they made?
I love that sign that just says LCK. It's like, yeah, this is the LCK.
K-Corp,
you're in the right place.
Champs. Well, you know, the Kana signing gave that a little bit more credibility than it had before, but I don't think it's looking good. I don't think it's happening.
Well, never say never, I guess. That's what they said about DRX. Anyway, guys, we are getting ready for the first matchup, or the first game, rather, in the second matchup of the day. Just have a slight delay before we do get into this one, as we have a packed house. Game has been paused. And, let's see when we can get into this one, but for now we're going to look at all these awesome fan signs that we have.
A lot of global fans as well. Always awesome to see. Fandom for both these teams alive and well.
Did he write in like the...
No, it's the same guy that we saw in the opening. He was there when they opened up. I am pretty sure.
So he has a test tomorrow.
Stay in school.
I guess they're studying chemistry while at the LCK. I wouldn't recommend it, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, guys, we are hopping onto the red for game number 1 of Nongshim versus BNK.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
So here we go. Game number 1 of this second match. Once again, the Nidalee comes out here, this time for Sylvie. I feel like it's kind of an interesting pick for Sylvie, who, you know, I remember he used to play so much Wukong. He was going over walls, he was everywhere. He was making big impacts in team fights, though, with that kind of champ. Whereas Nidalee, you know, kind of offers a different set of things.
I took a look. 5 games. Not a great win rate, but I think the win rate doesn't really matter, right, given that this is a Nongshim player, so it doesn't really give us a great indication. But most of those games, I think, have been in challengers, because Nidalee hasn't really been a contested
pick. He's going
pick.
for it. Level 1.
The amount of time is, of course, Execute is going for a level 1 play.
The thumbs up as well. He's not even going to flash for it just yet. The auto comes in, Ignite and a hook, and Fisher just says, okay, cool, I'm just going to walk away. Does not burn his own flash. Throws in a healing pot, but that is going to be a nice little bit of damage already, as now the rocks are being thrown in.
Ouchie.
And Fisher's in a lot of trouble.
We'll see. Ends up missing maybe a minion? Ends up missing, I think, 2 minions in total here. worth of experience is execute. But as long as they don't get dove on this crash, they should be fine, as we have a very early award there. And Sylvie, realistically, isn't going to be able to do that. Pathing towards the top side of the map will get spotted. Fisher, very early on, has to use his TP as... Oh, Dundun is not having the best of time here early in this lane, which you're not supposed to have a good time into Gnar, but losing half your health bar while you're still level 1?
Yeah.
Not ideal.
That's not the way it's supposed to go either. I feel like it's pretty fun to look at some of the players who, towards the tail end of spring, you know, at the beginning of the spring, we weren't so sure about them. One of those guys was Clear, who kind of had some decent games towards the end. Obviously, BNK FearX did fall short just barely, and they did get 7th place, as we do have another pause here, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not a big issue. But I am curious to see how guys like Clear will be able to perform in yet another full split of the LCK, given some more time.
We saw in the last series the consistency of Lucid individually, seemingly, at least in that one, did shoot up. So for Clear, I think that, as you point out, he had such a very clear... sorry for the joke, was definitely not on purpose.
It's very funny.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Zillion anytime soon, unfortunately. But he had an arc where he went from a player that I think really struggled. His Rumble was the easiest example, where it went from being an active detriment to actually be quite a strong pick. Perfect is another example, player that throughout the split we just saw grow such an incredible amount. As Dundun, look at that little Dundun on his mouse.
He
Love
says,
that.
the reason why I took so much damage is my mouse. He didn't actually say that, but he is having some mouse issues, so if you guys have any thoughts about what this pause could be about, it is about a mouse, thankfully.
Dundun, a true top laner. He's a top laner that it doesn't matter if he's 0-0 or 0-5, he will go in. If he sees an angle, even though the angle might not be there, he will be looking for it. And he will be trying, as the peripheral issue we saw, the mouse getting swapped in and out. Hopefully that'll be fixed soon.
Yeah, we got the CEOs still for SBXG and 4x4 coming on down to support the team for the first match. Dundun is still fiddling with his mouse. He's doing a lot of mouse wheel usage. We got a very young fan here. First time at LOL Park. You gotta hold that sign up. It just says, you know, first time with the sun here. Some BNK FearX fans as well. First time at LOL Park for her. And nice little flags there. The Fearless Foxes. BNK FearX.
I like the Fox ears. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
As we... more and more of these fans. And this is the best part, I think, about the pauses. You know, generally, no one likes pauses. We all want to see gameplay. But in these moments, we just get to enjoy ourselves. And I'm clearly just stalling while Veldis does his best to translate. I don't know if you had the time.
So that sign said I ran here just like Jiwoo to come see Subin, who is one of our hosts on the Korean desk. And then they put the camera on the desk where she was not.
Oh, that's Discord right there. It's a Nongshim fan and a FearX fan. The drama, Valdez.
Soon every team is going to have ears of some kind.
Drama. Okay, give me an animal. So Genji, it's
Tiger.
No. Oh yeah, I guess it has to be. I want to go polar bear for Canyon, but I guess he's the only polar bear amongst the tigers.
Yeah.
I know. No, that one's on me. T1, it's a dragon, although I don't know what dragon ears would look like.
I don't think T1 is dragons. Yeah, Jason said the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I have a T-shirt that has them as a dragon, so I guess.
Yeah, but that was just like a.
Yeah, no, I know it was a commemorative
thing.
Yeah, but I think that's why they've been cemented. So what enemy would you be looking at for each team?
I think T1 is like an airplane.
What do you mean?
I know that's not an animal, but
So you have like
the
wings?
first thing. Yeah.
Wings coming out of your...
They're not sponsored by an airline, but I don't know.
It's just a vibe.
Kind of the thing that first comes to mind. DRX are dragons, which both G-Sun in our ears and also Wolf in our group chat.
Yeah,
did say so.
Should have seen that one. What else
Sorry,
we got?
Chronicler. That's
that's fine.
unfortunate.
You also didn't realize it, so I
had no idea.
I don't feel as bad.
This person came to watch Cloud Templar.
What's DRX? Oh, sorry, DRX. DK.
DRX are dragons,
No,
Chronicler.
I know. We went over that again. I was making sure.
DK are now Chihuahuas because of Lucid.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I guess on that one.
So this is the first time down at the LCK.
What's Hanwha Life? 2 little dumbbells?
They're a tank.
Yeah.
Orange. Oh, yeah, they're the orange.
So you have like 2 oranges on the side of your head?
Yeah.
Okay, that works. That works. I'm okay with that. KT. I know they're a roller coaster, but I don't...
Yeah, they are, though. Like,
I don't see how that works.
I just don't feel like you can assign a specific animal to every team. It doesn't really work that way.
Is it just
I feel like they have an
alpacas?
image. What?
It's just the alpaca?
I guess so.
I guess so. It doesn't feel
For
good.
now, it's like they loaned the alpaca over that team for now. So this mouse issue, guys, is still going on. Promise it was a mouse issue. We saw that they were fiddling with that. Is that clear? It says clear.
I feel like that's a reference I probably should know. And unfortunately, I don't. I apologize. I'm the reference guy on this desk. Valdez is definitely between the...
Hey, what?
It's definitely between the two of us. Not necessarily reference guy.
Yeah. Not really the reference guy.
I know that this drawing is technically great, but that raptor, man, it keeps getting me. A little dinosaur.
Yeah. So foxes rip apart raccoons.
Fox, look at the little teeth. That's a vicious fox.
Yeah.
Valdez. Scary.
Very scary.
Not raptor. He looks very nice. I'm sure
He does, yeah. He looks like a
friendly.
nice guy.
He was on Brion. Come on.
Generally, that means, yeah, you're probably a nice guy.
You gotta have good vibes.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my highlights of MSI was
All right, what does this sign say?
meeting Umti.
Go Fox.
Go Fox with a heart.
It's actually BNK Firax.
And a New Jeans fan as well.
Hey, we love the support.
From all over the world.
This is the raccoon. And unfortunately, I know you guys love looking at the fan signs and the raccoon stuffed animal dolls, but we are ready to watch League of Legends. And so we are back into the game, hopefully with no future pauses, as Fisher has just been taking lots of damage so far in this game, the most by far. We'll see if he can handle it here as the hook is going to sail wide from Execute.
Look at that Cougar. In his old age, dodging skill shots.
I know, his hands still work, guys.
These jokes are going to be continuously made for like the first 2 weeks, right?
What is this skin?
It's like Meow Nidalee. It's like the cat suit skin.
Wow.
Yeah. we're so used to just seeing either what's it called, Headhunter.
Also
Or-
Canyon,
Yeah, the
we
cat.
just saw.
That's the main one.
Look at Cougar, man. It's not missing a beat.
Hasn't been hit by a hook yet, Valdez.
Yeah. Not yet.
Okay, that's a durian.
It's
Kiddly.
Kiddly skin. Okay. Good, good.
I imagine.
Good to know.
Maybe it was part of given that there's a durian there, maybe it's part of the skin set that also had Durian Rammus, which in my opinion is the greatest skin in League of Legends. I don't think we'll be able
We
to
need more Rammus.
see it. We do need more Rammus. Remember Pyoshi played Rammus those
Yeah.
like 2 games?
Point and click CC, man.
That was great.
Hard CC, it's really good. You're very fast. It is cleansable.
It is.
That makes it a little bit less good.
A lot, I would say.
Yeah. unfortunate. Not everybody can be as good as Nautilus or Vi. And we haven't had a lot of hard, point-and-click CC for a while. We had Skarner, and now he's gone as well. Although, it feels like he got stronger.
It's not hard to hit his CC. The Impale is tough, but the E, I feel like, is pretty generous.
Yeah. Well, here's Kiddly once again. Sylvie looking to get on in there with the spear as Closer just kind of takes a good trade against Fisher and then just walks away. Not too sad about the way that one went.
We had to walk it off. Raptor, meanwhile, has just been farming. So he's getting close to the level 6. Want to try and get there as soon as possible as Vi. Start enabling Closer in particular. The setup there obviously insanely solid if you can just blend either a Q or go for your ultimate. Towards the top side as well. Dundun was able to recuperate from that rough early game, but he's a little bit low on mana. Doesn't have too much health either, but really an opportunity right now is...
Oh! Another dodge took. Execute struggling to hit Cougar. Has not been able to do it just yet. And Henna's like, okay, this is how you do it.
That's experience right there, Valdez.
Yeah. That spear somehow didn't hit. Looks like maybe it hit one of the little Void Club dudes.
I think it really...
Sylvie got the smite there, though. That's going to be feeling pretty good for him.
Obviously not as big a spike on Italy as it is on some other champions, but still, level 8, always going to feel great. Player really wants the back. Hasn't actually gotten his back in, but did TP. But even if he makes it back, as his back won't get cancelled, this should be... I think still Nongshim being in a pretty good spot here to pick this up.
Yeah.
They're on even numbers, but they're to the objective first.
I don't think there's any reason to start to fight Cougar, man. He is so clean today, and he's going to get that engage on to execute. I was going to say, I think it's pretty questionable for BNK Fearx to be in that position, and, well, it did happen. Now, Jiu is alone underneath the turret. He's in a bit of trouble, but really nice flash, and now Henna going to have to flash away himself alongside of the cleanse, but it's Jin. If he lands a hit, this could be huge, but Henna, oh, the fourth shot is gonna crit him down, and that'll be the solo going the way of Jiwoo.
And the game state was looking pretty even. All of a sudden, everything looks amazing here. The only thing that Fearx is gonna get back is Raptor getting a single invade on a red buff. Like, yeah, he hits level 6, but that's not the trade you want. Starts up with Execute, just straight up disrespecting the engage potential, just walking up there unbothered, and he probably should have been. And then Henna trying to look for the outplay because the top half of the map ain't going his way. And man, does it backfire.
Dundun trying to get in there. I think he missed the cannon up against the Mega Gnar. Clear just going to continue to exert as much pressure up there as possible. But yeah, that might be one of the only lanes that goes well for the side of BNK at this point. Although at least Fisher was able to kind of stabilize. Closer is still in a decent spot, as this is once again the setup.
No idea. Because your Gnar is so far behind as well, and you should also realistically know, because Dundun had the teleport or a tempo advantage, that you can't contest that. Take another looker. If you're already level 6, might end up working out. It's really... Because he had triple Blight stack on top of him as well, right? So if the Blight ends up hitting, if that Q hits, he's dead. And instead...
나이스!
hits 6 of that first minion.
안 좋아서 지금. 나이스! 지우!
They're going insane!
And I wanna again, Chelly has been with Nongshim Challengers for such a long time, and he's been genuinely an incredible coach. Like, the performances he's had over the last 3 years with this, not this exact roster, obviously, with Yesta leaving and Pete not being there, but this roster, and the roster with Vito as well, making Challenger finals, actually winning those finals, and then the Academy roster coming in. So I think you can see right there that, to me, that's the essence of Nongshim. Them going completely crazy over a kill on Jin, and the gold's even, and it doesn't matter.
It was a nice fourth shot after he missed 3, so
it's got AO1.
Yeah, it was good to get excited, but they were pumped.
Yeah,
they were ecstatic after that one. Sylvie just looking to do Nidalee things, get in and out of the brush. Closer is not looking to interact much at all, although Fisher does know where he's backing, and will stop that. This Dragon is going to be started here by the side of BNK FearX, and then immediately stopped, although, no, it does look like Raptor's going to stay on it. Yes. They will be able to pick this one up.
Big wave being shoved in the 2v2. I do think you still really have to be respectful, especially without Jiwoo having his flash.
Okay, a chance here on a clear, but the Q3 is going to miss. Doesn't matter, he's Cassante, but the ult comes in clear. Getting an early flash down, very nicely done. He's almost up to Mega Gnar, but 1v2, he's not going to push his luck. Already did enough to survive the gank.
Gank is successful. Getting the flash out of the Gnar is still a big win. Means that you have a lot less pressure in those team fights from a flash Mega. Nicely done by Clear, though, to make sure that he survives. If that spear hits, he is most certainly not making it out, especially with Sylvie already having the early kill, being accelerated, having the Sorkpan boots. You see a lot of vision control here coming through for Nongshim in these early levels, but for BNK, it's also important to remember that right now, they're just playing for the mid game, right? You're looking to utilize the Nautilus, utilize the sideline pressure of this Taliyah, and that 1-2.
Uh-oh, Cougar, uh-oh, he's caught out here in the river as they do utilize a ult, a wall here from Closer to isolate him and take him down.
There you go, exactly what you want to do if you are BNK. Sylvie does get them to 4, which is a big break point, so he's going to be happy with those 4 grubs, but that'll be the end of it. Kill ended up going over to Raptor as well on the Vi, who uses that gold pretty well. Not the best target. Obviously, ideally, you'd want it on Closer, but Vi should still be able to use it as Jiwoo.
Meanwhile, oh, the cleanse on the change, though. Here comes Henna. He's trying to get those stacks up, and 1Q would do it. Flashes forward just to make sure. And he will pick it up before Jiwoo can even respond with his own flash. And Henna will get his revenge.
So fireworks here in the bot lane, Valdez. And saw what happened last time around. He's like, I won't have that happen to me again. Absolutely no way. Very nicely done there by the Varus. Always kind of catches me off guard how much value Varus will still be able to get from Halo Blades, even if he goes lethality.
Yeah,
it's cool to see. Actually, on the, I think it's the current PvE, there are some changes being tried out to Varus, where instead he will be gonna look, I think it changes from attack speed to AD, which I feel like Varus has been a mainstay for what, 2021?
I mean, we had Varus, like red side Varus metas were, oh, okay, this is a very straight from Fisher. Like red side Varus metas were like 2017.
Yeah. Well, obviously,
and then like even. Yeah.
Played a lot of Varus in his time. But I mean, the lethality variety.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. And Execute is going to get rooted up here by the Jin, and now they're just getting in on top of Execute, who will land his ult on the 2. A very messy fight here is now the Magnet Storm just going to be used to...
some skill shots.
Yeah,
not
okay.
They're being sidestepped, Valdez.
Yes.
They're not hitting.
Everybody's dodging so excellently. They're doing a great job.
Some unfortunate misses there, and it means no one ends up dying, at least for now. Can't wait to see what this game brings. I can already feel the vibes are great.
Yeah. This should go 3 games, I would say. This series seems pretty likely.
Yeah, we're in for a long day.
2 teams seem very evenly matched.
So starts off with the Q. Always with Varus, want to try and get as many Blight stacks as possible, and then here, W flashes on top of him to ensure that there is no such shenanigans as were found last time around by Jiwoo when he flashed the arrow. Ends up working out very, very nicely here for Henna.
Those are going to make his way up to the top lane, actually. Up against Dindin. Meanwhile, Clear is going down to the bot lane. Up against Fisher, who is down there. So some interesting swaps at around 14 minutes in. Obviously, don't have to keep these permanent as the laning phase is ending. But definitely want to make a play here on this Rift Herald, potentially. Closer level 11 could try to set up something with his wall. But neither team making a big play at it just yet.
Jiwoo also going for the early Ghostblade. Ghostblade and Swifties means that the Jhin is zooming around the map. Very easily can rotate from lane to lane. Obviously doesn't have the same level of range or save wave clear rather that Varus does. Does offer a lot in terms of setup with his W, as we do see Clear. Triforce done. He's quite a menace.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, making his way over, looking for Fisher.
I mean, if they get this combo cleanly, like, Raptor can do the ult flash thing that Lucid always does. And even with Mininar, I think they've got an angle here.
Yeah, I don't think it should matter.
Yeah, it might not even have to flash. Just going to press R onto him. If they have the damage, yep, it will be definitely enough as the Vi and the Gnar come together for a 2v1 kill under the turret.
And really, really crucial here is that Nongxin just had Sylvie back. So they're going to start this up now. But I actually think that for BNK, there's a response possible. Clear STP. It looks like they're going to go for the cross map instead. Don't want to run the risk. There is a lot of vision control there for Nongxin, but tempo not being really pushed too far there by Ferex, instead just saying, hey, you can get a dragon, we got a turret. He picks up a kill as well. So first turret blood gonna be huge. That's generally what you want to use that Herald for. Nongxin starting to slip a little bit here, Valdez.
Yeah, they definitely are. We do have the Ocean Soul coming through here in this one. We did have that Cloud Drake individually picked up by BNK once again. And yeah, might just slow down from here. Nongxin, not a big stranger to this kind of situation, just slightly behind, trying to rely on Jiwoo, who has gotten some gold in his pockets. Sylvie struggling to get over that wall. There was nothing for him to land a spear on, so obviously it doesn't get the increased range. Just going to go up to the top side of the map here. So yeah, BNK Ferex looking pretty comfortable at this point in time, because even though Jiwoo's fed, it is Henna who is actually even more fed after getting the return kill in the bottom lane.
It's a standoff, Valdez. Both teams are just kind of in the same area, and both Cougar and Execute just really want to go in. They really want to go.
Yeah. Kind of similar vibes from these guys, who are not a stranger to sending it either, although Execute is currently the king on this rift. You have a bit of a rotation up the river. Raptor trying to threaten this, but the wall is going to come in. He's going to go over the wall. The damage should be enough. Oh, a three-man Magnustorm does come in, and now the Jhin is firing from far away, but it does not matter. 2 kills now for Closer. Going to be picked up, and with the TP coming in from Clear, he doesn't do much, but does 100% secure the fight win for BNK Ferex.
The attempt from Nongxin there does make sense, right? Try and turn it around with the Jhin ultimate, but I think they're a little bit too slow. Not quite sure if they have the firing power, and Sylvie in particular going down there, I think is huge. Like Cougar getting the re-engage. If Sylvie can then just throw a spear or two, and they're able to utilize the Jhin ult, TP coming in from Dunan as well. That could have been a turning point, but instead, we just don't have the damage available. Execute could have just tanked most of this. Take another look, because again, I think Cougar going down, going for a re-engage would have been fine, but the big problem is that Sylvie gets caught by the chains of corruption and then just gets CC'd. And without the Nidalee, there's no way, right? Like maybe if Nidalee's alive and you get a shot on the Closer, you can try and look for a fight, because Clear was, I think, Mininar and didn't have a big bar. And if Cassante comes in from an angle, could be an opportunity there, but instead, we're starting to see the game slowly slip away from Nongxin here in this first one. As we see that combination, fight Talia, man, it gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through so many metas, and we've had like new OP picks come in, and it's just so funny that regardless of what meta we're in, like CC is almost always king. And a lot of the very OP champs that come in have a lot of CC in their kit alongside of other stuff. You know, namely Skarner nowadays, Cassante recently as well. Nautilus has been a mainstay for a long time, but Vi, Talia, you talk about this, and we did see the first 3 picks on the side of Nongxin were Corki, Jhin, Nidalee. Those are all very strong picks on this patch, and they rounded it out well with the Cassante and the Rel, but they don't quite have as much as BNK Ferex do. And now from ahead, this CC will be even more oppressive, as they're going to not have much vision, and they're going to have to walk into some dark places where you might just get 100 to 0.
It's a big test for Nongshim because it's their biggest weakness, right? Coming back from these deficits, something they've always struggled with. Guger, one of the main reasons why he came in is because he, if I remember correctly, was a substitute just because he was coaching, I think, challengers or academy, not 100% sure, but he just ended up subbing in just to happenstance, and it worked out really, really well. But in this game on the stage, it'll be very different from scrims, as we have seen many times. Scrim bucks, unfortunately, don't get you anything in League of Legends. Nongshim's still in a position where I think a good team fight can kind of bail them out, but if they lose Ocean Soul and they lose the fight decisively, I think this first game might be done and dusted, Valdez.
Yeah, I would say that BNK Fear-X we've seen in the past, they have struggled themselves from behind, where they're like, okay, we're behind, but we're going to force every play that we possibly can. They have been a bit more balanced this time, and, you know, putting in a new jungler can actually change entirely the way that your team does play. And it does look like they are kind of picking their choosing their moments up against Nongshim in this one. It has been a pretty balanced game so far from the side of BNK Fear-X. They haven't made a lot of overstepping maneuvers. And now Raptor in a very nice spot over the wall. He's going to get into the pit. I don't think they have any idea. And Jiu, oh, wait, they do now.
Look, oh, wait, hold up. Look at Guger, though. Execute, I think he has a suspicion.
Yep.
Oh, he susses him out.
And we are going to have the wall coming out here, and Guger is not in a great spot. Raptor's just in here looking for the steal. Meanwhile, we have a TP coming in as well from the Cassante. Dindin trying to join. They want to try to burst down this dragon. The smite will go the way of the Bias. Now Clear gets a massive Gnar into the wall. They take down the Corki, and Jiwoo's on the run. Dindin's all by himself. Sylvie's on the run. He's going to go down. They might get Execute, maybe. Yes, they do. As finally Guger makes his way in. They want to try to take down Henna as some Cassante things in that fight, but it's not going to matter as BNK Fear-X are just way too far ahead. And Jiu knows his fate is pretty much sealed.
Can they get the Execute?
I mean,
wait, the grubs!
Boomerang! Nope, not gonna happen. Execute does come in.
It's still a complete disaster, but they didn't get Jiwoo, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very unfortunate. So what happened there is that Guger was on a great flank, if it doesn't get sussed out, which it did, so they don't have their front line outside of Dindin, but by the time he joins, Sylvie already forced to go for a very early Zhonya's, and Dindin is zoning multiple people, but there's no one keeping the backline safe. So Clear finds a multi-man knockoff. Then here, Dindin does his very best Keen Sanze impression, but unfortunately, Raptor and Clear are there, and they don't have the AD carry because it was zoned out of the fight right from the get-go. Basically blown up in the initial setup. And now for Nongshim, things are looking irreparably damaged because trying to play Nidalee from this position, trying to play Jin from this position,
yeah,
it's not happening, Valdez. It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough for them on the side of Nongshim for sure. But BNK Fear-X, I do like, again, this kind of balanced feel that we see from them.
They're slow playing.
They're not over-forcing. They're not going for crazy plays. They're not trying to make the next big YouTube highlight or anything like that. They're just like...
Watch them start Nash and Fro.
Well, yeah, that would be the perfect caster curse. That would make this game a lot more fun, honestly. But
I'd be down. I'd sign up for that.
I don't think it's going to happen.
They just look clean, right?
Yeah.
I also do think it's important to know that Fear-X also underperformed to what we expected. Or BNK right at Fear-X in the last split. This is gonna take some time.
It's gonna be rough, yeah.
But back then, right, Fear-X really wasn't able to showcase, I think, even because we expected them to be messy, but they didn't even look cohesive for most of the split.
Oh boy, and that is going to be the lockdown here on a Sylvie. Now the follow-up. This is just people getting caught out over and over. BNK Fear-X, they will easily take that money and bring it to the bank and bring it to Baron as well. They didn't even need Clear. He's just solo pushing bot. Might as well.
BNK, no jungler on the enemy team. That's the freest Baron that they could go for. Some of the early laning phase looked a little bit rough. Execute just getting caught is peak Execute, but they didn't let that really get to them. Clear also wisely backing off. And Raptor, I gotta say, Divide, looking great here. as Sylvia, you can't be in the jungle, unfortunately. At this point, it doesn't really matter what they do, if I'm being completely honest.
True. I mean, it's either that or he just kind of stands in the lane, throwing spears into the dark jungle. So
I wonder if next game we get like the Mahao and/or Balmy situation. We'll see what ends up happening. For those of you wondering where Peter went, Peter is currently in Challengers, but he's also subbed because Vital, who you might remember, has role swapped to support. Nongshim's Challenger team, I would highly recommend watching because Eddie's on it, and he has already played Pantheon and got his top lane Galio banned.
That's Challengers, baby.
That is indeed.
Make sure you guys are watching the coach streams. They're always a lot of fun.
Oh, the Hail Mary.
Googer coming in from behind, and he has a TP to help him out. A couple of TPs, actually, as Closer is in a lot of trouble, but that Zhonya's is going to help him out quite a bit. Can they actually get this kill? No, they cannot. As the Nora into the wall is just gigantic, and that'll be the end of this team fight. Dundun not going to beat Dunsante this time as Sylvie goes down as well. This game is over. BNK Fearex absolutely turned that round, that fight around in a big way, and they should be able to push to win here with the Baron buff.
Appreciate the gusto from Nongshim trying to salvage an unsalvageable game. There's a reason why coming back from a deficit like this is so hard. Unfortunately, once control was lost, Fearex in really BNK in uncharacteristic fashion. Maybe it's the name change, right?
Yeah.
Ends up
like
playing it out. Oh, execute, maybe dying it. That would be no, not even. That's what I mean.
Not gonna happen.
What's happening here?
G's gonna go down here too. 17-3, and Nongshim, oh, he's desperate. He wants execute to go down, but Aftershock too good as one by one the chips fall. The dominoes being knocked over. Nongshim will not go down without a fight. Unfortunately, you're never gonna win that fight. So anyway, the Nexus will go down, and BNK Fearex will get their first win here in summer on the first game.
Execute didn't even hook onto the fountain, Valdez.
Wow.
This is truly
a
changed BNK. Fearex coming through here. For Nongshim, started off okay. Jiush, doing a little bit of flexing, but then very quickly we saw those old Nongshim patterns come back where they just get caught off guard. And Raptor, I think having a wonderful game here on the Vibe, being where he needs to be, setting up the fights very, very well. That game really felt like a little bit of an everything diff. It's tough to deal with, especially because Nongshim, they were on blue side. I think that Corky Brio has got to be dropped, but that alone probably not going to be enough.
Yeah. And as you mentioned before, there is still possibility to see some roster swaps for this one. Some subs coming in for game 2, and we'll have to wait and see if they do opt into that one. Just a lot of early fights going the way of BNK Fearex, and they roll that into a massive snowball to take this first game of the series. We're going to take a break and have the space with Digon, Huni, and Ox to break it down. We'll be right back.
플래시 있어 얘들아. 빨리면 안 돼 그래도.
바텀 오면 끝나긴 하겠다 이거.
살짝 못해.
바텀 안 볼게.
레 노플 진 플래시 있고.
천천히 타워 치면서 코르킥 붙죠. 네 노플. 네 잡아보자.
나 살릴 사람. 나안 죽었어. 레
네
노플
다 나왔다.
진 봐줄래?
노플. 그렇게 플래시 있어. 다 플래시.
호리기.
이제부터 플래시 다 있다. 이제 날놀이 있네. 앞라인 킬 먹어 얘들아. 맛있게 먹어.
밀량 올릴게.
나도 KD 올릴게. 나 이렇게 해볼게.
나이스.
이렇게 해볼게. 나이스. 다음 턴도 이렇게 하자.
But also for your team. And if you don't hit that bar, please, for the love of God, I don't care how good it is in scrims, let the pick go. Because it is so hard to make work. And I agree, when it looks good, looks amazing. We saw Lucid have a great performance on it. It was a big pick at MSI. But realistically, we've seen Peanut Nilly today, which didn't inspire a lot of faith. And I guess we're just banning it, so we won't end up seeing it. So that's great. That's
BNK Fearex helping him out with a nice ban from the blue side. They say, you know what?
Wait, this is match 2. How am I already looking at these drops?
We're already throwing our hands up in frustration here.
This must be a scrim thing, which makes sense. I feel like Nidalee is kind of the classic scrim champion where you
Still
get
feel like Sylvie should be good on this champ. You know?
I don't even think it's specifically Sylvie. I think trying to play Nidalee into Vitalia is just not a thing.
That's what I mean. Like, I feel like individually he should be good on the champ, but we
Sure.
just didn't get to see any of it in game 1. Like that, you know, it didn't show off any of his prowess on the pick, I would assume. As Ashe also got to be banned. This has been a power pick for a while. It did not get banned or picked in the last game, actually. It just kind of got looked over. But will be looked at this time around. Let's see what that third ban is going to be here from the red side. They already banned Skarner, so they already did their job from the red side. But what will be the next power pick they want to take away from BNK Fearex?
Maybe Kalista. Corki is a pick that I haven't seen his performance and impact really warrant his high pick rate.
Are you ready for it?
Might be. Yeah, might come through.
Are you ready?
Also, wanted to draw attention to something that is actually quite interesting, is that Pony was the only one who predicted BNK on the Korean side.
Yeah.
All of us were BNK voters.
On the global side.
On the global side.
Yeah.
Pony was the only one on the Korean side.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Definitely one of the bigger divides we have had in terms of Preds. But, yeah, I guess it just kind of came down to some of the changes that happened to the rosters and some belief. Potentially on the side of Nongshim's new changes, but we haven't seen it just yet. Now, I thought it was going to be actually Tristana that got picked here on B1, but they went for Maokai instead. And so that does give over Varus and potentially Tristana here for Nongshim Red Force.
We'll be locked in. Maokai Tristana combo that has been around for quite a while. Very, very strong. Of course, there's still flex potential with his Maokai as well. Could also go towards execute. But we will not know what's going where. We have also seen...
Ooh, this got first banned on blue. This was B1 ban from Nongshim.
Closer on melee carries into Varus as well already. I think you're going to be feeling great. The one thing I am scared about is I've actually been seeing a decent amount of Liandry's into like off-tank Maokai to bring back the AP Maokai. I would like to remind everyone that build was very forcefully removed from the game, and it still doesn't feel
Does
great.
he have AP ratios?
Yes, he does, Veldes. He does.
Well, then
have
he's
AP
going to
ratios.
build AP items.
Yeah, I guess. We really let that one go for a long time, so I kind of was hoping that it would be just gone forever.
Yeah.
And it is my displeasure to say that is not the case.
What do we think about this Leona pick here? I feel like, you know, we've already seen 3 AD carry bans, kind of, you know, you've given over a couple to the enemy team already, and they just go for the Leona saying, okay, we want this lockdown.
To me, it makes sense, as the AD carry pool feels like it really is pretty open. Like, there's a lot of AD carries that keep getting banned, Senna most notably, but Ashe, even though that is a flex, we already saw it as an AD carry even today. Kalista also, even though Kalista to me, with how good Talia is, I don't rate the pick as highly, but we know that teams will be wanted if it is left open, and it can be really tough if it takes over a game. So the Leona specifically the Leona prio to me is really interesting. The pick is very clearly really highly regarded at the moment, higher priority than things like the Nautilus. We do see already the Ziggs remains on the ban list, and it makes sense because you might be looking for an AP source. Things like the Veigar, for example, which once upon a time used to be good, not really having the same power. You can go really deep and go for things like Karthus, but realistically, I don't think that's what we're going to be seeing here in the LCK.
Karthus Leona bot lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. We have seen Ziggs Leona here and there. Saw in the LPL. Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
As always. But especially into some of the AD carry metas that we have seen, he has been popping up from time to time. Ziggs, as Jin is going to be the last ban here for Nongshim. And it's going to take that out of the hands this time of Henna.
Classic combo. DK bot lane, of course, having skins on those two champions. Still going to feel like there is a decent amount of AD carries available for Henna. He's also a known Zeri enjoyer. Could see that come through.
The TF could be a consideration somewhere along the line here with the Jax bans by BNK FearX. I don't know if you necessarily want to blind it on the side of Nongshim, though. Brand's going to be the choice here for the jungle pick of Sylvie.
Do quite like that. You need an AP source, even despite the nerfs to Blackfire Torch. I think Brand's still in a great spot, able to, or should, theoretically, heavily outfarm the Maokai. The TF should not come as a surprise here from BNK. And Henna. This is a really good TF comp. Like, I want you to pay every single other member has set up for him to get cash outs. I wouldn't mind a Draven at all if Henna feels comfortable here. The Kai'Sa also works really well into the type of AD carries that you have, right? Particularly the Varus. I do think the laning phase is tough, but if you can get on top, you can blow him up. Brand, kind of similar, that if you ever do get near him, you can have a really good time. Renekton into TF. It's a little scary to me, Veldas.
Yeah, I mean, you just know that Dinden would love to play Jax in this spot, but, that was banned. A nice ban from BNK FearX, and he has to go into the Renekton.
I would have loved if they just picked the TF themselves, because obviously this brand wasn't going to be picked up by BNK.
It was kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, and amongst the other top laners that are available, like, the TF is going to do well into almost all of them. So yeah, I kind of do agree, but not the case. And so Clear is going to be playing TF in this game.
The composition that we do have, I think, is better for Nongshim. Is that enough?
Better compared to the last game comp. But also still worse than BNK FearX's comp in this game.
That was what I was headed towards. Yeah, I'm glad. You know me well, Veldas. You know when I'm ramping up to something. That is how I feel. You have a great setup across the board. You have double, I'd say semi-global. Obviously, TF actually global, but post-level 11. Kai'Sa can so easily get from lane to lane. It's because we've had so many of these champions that just appear in your lane at any given point in time.
Yeah.
Nongshim, they got to be ready for that if they want to bring us to a game number 3.
Well, we'll see how this one is going to go, as Nongshim are really going to have to turn things around after their loss in game 1. Let's hop into the rift for game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we go. As we make our way onto the rift for game number 2. Nongshim, they selected red side, by the way. The Korean cast was very surprised by that. But it's not the first time we've seen teams that, they pick the stronger side, which right now is blue, and then they lose, and then they say, okay, let's mix it up. Let's just go for red. Let's try a different strategy, because obviously we had our blue side strategy, and it fell flat on its face. So, like, why are we going to try to do that again or something similar? So they try to mix it up with red side.
I'm
see if it works out for them.
I'm sorry to report that Red Trinket and First Strike have been picked up by Raptor. We have confirmation that, again, generally they...
He's doing some damage.
Really though? Generally,
He's
you
building some damage items.
end up there you go. End up going Leandris and then going tank from there. It's not the end of the world. It's Henna. Should have an inkling.
Yeah.
Still, nicely done by Gio there. Gets a decent amount of damage. And in the last game, the laning phase was pretty even, all things considered, but it was when the moving around the map really started that things got rough. Guys, you have Alistair level 1. Don't take the free autos.
Well, they're taking free autos, and they're taking a lot of damage here. Henna will get traded back on. Gugur at least is going to be able to use one ability. As it's 12-12 here in the LCK between Kai'Sa and Varus in the head-to-head. Who is going to move forward? Which champion is going to be on top for the future?
Do see Chiyu and Guru respecting, as they should. Kai'Sa, obviously the tough part is that the Varus with his Q and his E has a decent range advantage. Post 6 though, get a lot more kill threat. And Kai'Sa can also do well in the early all-ins when you can get multiple procs of your passive off. Can be quite tough. As long as Chiyu and Gugur don't take isolated Qs, they should be doing fine. Sylvie, my expectation of the brand is that he should really be able to pace ahead of the Maokai. But we will see. We haven't really seen a lot of players, I think, truly commit to the power farm strategy on these picks where they should be power farming the way that, you know, Canyon would. Which, that's a bit of an unfair comparison because he's Canyon, but that's where we're at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of when you look at one of the best players playing the pick, you see an ideal scenario sometimes, and you're like, feel like some of the players should take a page out of that book, right? So even though, you know, it's not going to be one-to-one, maybe a certain play style can be matched in a way or mimicked, but not always the case, I suppose, as you were saying, Chronicler. Raptor himself going for a full clear of his own, as you would do. This top lane is going just about as we expected it to. As when you pick the Renekton into this, you're not going to have a good time, especially early on.
Might be setting up for a dive here. Closer is relatively low, but they don't want to risk it. Raptor also making sure they'll get spotted.
Okay, they're going to try to turn on to Execute here. There's a full combo from the brand. Execute is in a bit of trouble, but he flashes in. Immediate flash out from Sylvie, but that just leaves Gugur to the Wolves. And yes, it is going to be Gugur picking up one kill, but he also gave a kill over to Henna's Kai'Sa. So that's not a good trade for him.
If Sylvie picks up that kill, I think you call it worth, because you get first blood and then you get the kill on that carry. But instead it's Gugur, and as you point out, Valdez, it's Henna. And you also trade favorably when it comes to summoners, because Sylvie flashed. Execute also flashed, but he has X-Flash, so his flash is not remotely as valuable. Already, BNK getting an early lead onto Henna with a composition that does so well at enabling this guy. So we already talked about the Draven. I always love Draven comps when you have either a great way to keep him safe.
Uh-oh. Okay, he's fine. He's Yone.
He's Yone. I don't know about that one. But Gugur is like, what's this champion, guys? Well, I interrupted him.
I haven't seen this in a long time. I haven't seen it at all.
I was about to say. Oh, we joke.
Yeah.
Getting some damage and
he's seen it at least once.
Is still fine. Well,
he's watched some highlight videos.
Yeah.
Prepare for this play. But yeah, giving closer Yone is always scary, which is one of the things I mentioned right when we first started this. It's like, it should be a good meta for him. As we're listening in to Execute, it's basically just saying, I'm going to go in, I'm going to go in. They knew they were there, so...
Yeah, 알리키 나이스 게이드.
It's a big win, he says.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he's right.
Kill.
I love as well that he just... I'm pretty sure they knew that there might be people in that brush, and it's like, no, it's fine. If he procs Aftershock, he actually... Like, just his W was enough to keep him almost alive. If he procs Aftershock as well, they just use their entire combo and don't get the kill. It's only Hannah getting a kill. So I think that Nongshim actually got off a little bit scot-free there. Could have been much worse for them. Still going to be a win for BNK, as we do have the trade here. Raptor is just going to get the grubbies.
Yep. He'll pick up all 3 here, but it is the Chemtech Drake going in the way of Sylvie and his team. And he'll enjoy that for now. Singular Chemtech Drake, not the biggest deal, but we'll be able to stack those up. Raptor also going to put down a pretty deep ward in there, as we're zooming in onto all of the cat skins today.
It's also level 6.
Yeah. And, yeah, Fisher just going to hop away. He is Tristana. He's able to get out of there.
It's Chuck Sylvie's crab! It's Chuck Sylvie's crab! You don't take a man's crab! This is the farming jungler!
Yeah. It doesn't really... It's just not a good idea in general.
No,
I mean,
he gets at least he's not 6 now.
Yeah. Well, he's 6 now. Right as you said that.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, that's... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he panicked and he auto-attacked a little bit, and it was a little bit awkward. Taking a look at our jungle lane proximity maps here.
I can only imagine as well that the comms were like, oh, I'm so sorry. And so it was like, it's fine. It's just a crab. It doesn't... It happens.
And then he puts up the B emote.
Yeah. Well, he knows we are seeing this as well.
Yeah. Going to be a play early on here for Fisher. The Yone into the Tristana matchup, still going to take a lot of harass, and Fisher has been doing a good job of putting on that pressure. So, still going to enjoy about 11 CS ahead here for Fisher in this matchup. Cougar on the move again, this time towards the mid lane again. Into a Yone again. He picks up level 5. And he's just protecting Fisher, it looks like. I mean, the only other reason, that is the only reason for him to stand there, right? He's not even soaking XP. There's nothing to soak anymore. All the minions are gone. So he's just literally like, I am going to enable you to hit the turret.
I don't mind it, especially with a pre-6 Leona and Giu being on Varus, which is a pick that can farm extremely safely. There's not that much innate risk, as we see Giu fine here in 1v2.
Yeah, I'm like, why didn't he get that plate? They know that the Yone backed. There were 2 question mark pings on the tower.
They missed it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like somebody was saying, hey, you should get the plate, and Fisher's like, no, I'm going to hop and back away.
I'm like trying to...
And the plate went down. I mean, you kind of want to like time your backs, and it makes sense in the competitive
side.
But it looked like a free plate.
Yeah, if there was an objective coming up, I wonder if it was because they were afraid of a TF and Maokai collapse. Because I do think it's important to know they didn't have vision to the top side of the map. And if TF is able to roam down, then obviously you're in deep trouble. I don't know if that's the reason. It might have also just been a mistake.
Yeah, and then someone else on the team is also question mark pinging it. So
yeah.
It's like a little bit of a disagreement there, potentially.
Yeah, as mentioned, might just be Fisher messing up. We'll see. Maybe once the comms are released, we will know all of this. Valdez.
Yeah.
We'll finally be in the know.
Potentially in the future. Fisher still putting on the pressure, so he's still doing that. And Guer, basically he's just left his Varus down there and he's saying, okay, my job now is to hang around with the jungler, enable my mid laner, and I'm just here to support the whole team. As actually you're gonna get caught by this full combo once again. Leona having the shield up is going to help, and now Guger is just kind of left alone and he dies. So they did the same thing again, except this time they didn't get a kill. And BNK Fearx say thank you very much for the free kill on Henna again.
I don't know about that one, Valdez. Well, I do. I know it's not good. As Fisher is jumping in.
Raptor's here. He's gonna flash on into this one, and now with the Yone follow-up, it should be enough. Oh! It should be enough. Wait, how did they not get the kill? As the cat's not gonna close the distance, and Fisher gets away. You gotta be kidding me.
Not even close, baby. I can't believe he didn't get the kill.
He was so dead.
Let it be known that building damage on Maokai is bait. Don't do it. Don't trust it.
I mean, that doesn't even have anything to do with the way the play.
No, but I just want to get it out there.
Okay.
9 HP.
Glad you aired your grievances.
On Fisher. This series is throwing me off. So we had them engage on the Leona, and I actually think they had Prio in at least mid.
9 HP, by the way.
Yeah.
Get the update. Did you say that?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
This series is throwing me off.
Yeah, but the series is throwing both of them.
Yeah.
I think this is really, you know what this is a carpet space series.
Yeah.
They're gonna
It's a
come
great
in,
carpet space, yeah.
and they're really gonna help us understand. Because right now, while we're in the midst of it, I'm having some issues. But by the end of it, Hannah's currently up 2 kills, which is huge. Claire, based on the observing that's happening right now, might be in trouble, but
He knows.
plays it very, very safe and should be completely fine. And it's a dragon, so we're even in Krebs, even in dragons.
And it's Infernal Soul.
Oh boy.
And, you know, you're building damage on the Maokai. You've got 4 damage threats here on the side of BNK Fearax. So take a look at this. Hey, he just pops back, and it's just barely not enough.
봐봐도 제발.
Make sure he
Please
flashes
get him,
well.
is what he said.
이게 안 잡히냐?
How did I not get this? Or like, oh man, I didn't get this. And well, he got it now in live. So they did it again, this time with Execute. And looks like Fisher wasn't ready for the nth time that they went in on the Tristan.
Got the kill there. Starting to accelerate closer. It's going to be huge. This Yone in a side lane is going to be extremely, extremely tough to deal with once he's skilled up. Because you're going to reach a point eventually where you can just kind of shrug off the damage that Fisher has. And Fisher needs to play very respectful not to get all in. And then Renekton into Yone obviously becomes a... Unless the Renekton is accelerated, a really rough time. And Dunan is also itemizing for his 1v1 against the TF, right? Went for the Mercs. Mercs also, in general, super high value into the Leona, the Maokai, and into the TF as well.
Second he hops in there with no reset, it's just over for him. He doesn't have flash.
Nice timing by Execute. Execute actually has been great thus far. Been very active on the map. And given how he played last split, I understand Nongshim being like, what is he doing? Is he running it?
Yeah.
You go in.
You never know.
And it turns out it's all part of Execute's plan. And Guger picks up another kill. Execute's able to keep up in gold nonetheless just by his impact on the map.
Yeah. And Guger has been trying to roam around a bit himself. Unfortunately, there have been some, you can call it communication issues or just, you know, bad calls to go in as a team. And he's kind of taken the brunt of the punishment for those plays. But he is level 6, and he's looking to be here once again in mid alongside of Jiu. We did see for a long time, because both supports were roaming around the map, that the 280 carries were going head-to-head in the 1v1, and Henna, although he does have the 2 kills, he did fall behind in CS to the Varus, Jiu, in that 1v1, so that's one thing that Jiu was able to pick up. Look at that damage chronicler, huge.
This is not bad.
20%.
Yeah.
Maybe like 15. And now we got this Maokai ultimate coming on in. Let's see how they can stack up for this one. Guger gonna block it for the team, and now he's gonna go into his ult, but they all just back away, so he can't get any further engage. And that's gonna be the end of that play.
Particularly with that Maokai ult gone, I wouldn't have minded if you actually went in a bit more aggressively there. If you're gonna pop your ult, if you're gonna look for the re-engage, but the rest of the team maybe not quite ready. So it is going to be Fearax, BNK picking up the Herald here without too much of a hitch. And this is starting to feel pretty reminiscent of what happened in game number 1, where the early game feels relatively even. But then the objectives start opening up, the movement around the map starts happening, and we're getting into these 5v5s. Or at least in that case, you know, a posturing for a 4v4. Not a whole lot is going the way of Nongshim. We'll get the flash there from Raptor, so we'll be able to pick up the eye, but we'll pay for that with a flash. But I think you take that. I don't think you care that much.
Unless you're lucid on the Maokai, then you really want that flash for your engage. Sorry to bring up a...
Why would you? You know that hurts me. It's very
Yeah.
valid. That man might have the worst Maokai in the LCK.
But it seems like he's got a lot of great picks besides it. Jiu's in a bit of trouble. He's going to flash over the wall here. Meanwhile, a bit of trouble up on the top side clear as well, just burning down Sylvie. Nice angle. He is going to net this turret for the team as well. And that will be the first one to go down in favor of Noshim. So they hop into the front as now Raptor, no flash, and not a lot of health. He's just going to burn down as well. Here comes Closer and the gang, but they don't quite have the numbers advantage. And Noshim just a bonus kill on top.
There is the BNK we saw in spring. Committing to a play they probably should have not. In isolation, you make a play in mid lane, Jiu plays it really nicely, ends up getting his summoners blown, right? Gets the Captain Jack so that he can just keep walking, but the plasma stacks are still active, so... And I can get in, force the flash out. That's great, love that part. But then towards the top, Raptor, really I think showing some of his inexperience, clear as death. Sylvie sets that one up, but the damage between the two of them is simply too much. And here, Raptor is just, the idea is good, but he needs to wait like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Right, the TP's coming in, Closer is ready, and I think they can take that fight, because I think that they actually invested pretty heavily in making the top lane play work, and you know Jiu isn't going to be able to join. So, I think Raptor had the right idea there. Unfortunately, he goes in too early. Timing is everything, so he just kind of dies. And hopefully for Dundun...
Yeah, well, he's got Dominus and Flash, and Raptor's just not attacking him yet. He's going to go in for it now. Throws the ult into Dundun, but Dundun's pretty fast, actually. He's going to run that off and gets away. Zoning ultimate there, quite literally, as the turret is going to go down. Closer does pick that one up, and meanwhile, Fisher's just by himself down on the bot side. We did see Nongshin pick up that first Infernal Drake at the same time. Now Dominus comes in, Dundun maybe just still feeling the pressure, wants to clear the wave, and that he will.
Dundun thought that there was about to be an honorable battle, and Closer, you know, he's a mid laner, but he's got the vibes of a top laner. I understand why Dundun thought that they were going to be fighting.
Oh, they're just getting in there, as now we do have Sylvie caught out 100-0, no time to breathe at all. And
I swear to God, man, you see that flash from Execute, you're like, Execute.
Joe Strong was very nicely
happening?
following the Leona Execute rather than the rest of the play.
He just wants to make sure he's part of it. You know, he doesn't want FOMO. He sees the play happening. He's like, guys, did they need him?
He's so eager.
I don't know if they really needed him, but he makes it work. Let's take another look at this. I genuinely wonder. Okay, no, him flashing over was good. Otherwise, he doesn't have flash. No, you know what? I take it back. He definitely would have died regardless. I don't think Execute was needed. But he wants to be part of the experience.
You gotta make sure. You
respect
you
that.
gotta be 100% sure that Sylvie dies. Sylvie's pretty fed.
He's cruising for a POG. He can't lose his 100% kill participation.
Of course, yeah. It's understandable. And now Hannah's 3-0. This Kai'Sa is pretty much unchecked, except for like the 3 minutes he had to lane 1v1 against Avaris. Other than that, he's now kind of caught up in CS as well, and he might just have the most gold in the game, even more than TF potentially. So we'll see what Henna's going to be able to do with this kind of a lead in this game. Still a pretty even gold state, you can see, up in the top there between BNK Fearx and Nongshin. And still no team yet to push out in the lead in a big way.
I'm waiting, Feldes. I'm waiting to see which team is going to throw themselves into the fight just a little bit too enthusiastically, because that's how this series is going to go.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at.
Feels like that's generally BNK Fearx, though.
Yes.
Like, they're the team that does that.
But they haven't. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
They've been very deliberate. Closer and Fisher both keeping up the CS, and obviously had to drop a little bit. I think particularly in the 1v1 against Varus. At this point, if you ever get on top of Varus, he just straight up dies. But in lane earlier on, I do think you have to play respectful. If you ever get caught by a stray ultimate, you just end up dying very quickly. Dundun going for a bruiser build. We have Lockadon for Raptor. Will be able to keep the rest of his team alive and maybe protect a little bit against the burst coming out from that brand.
He protect, but also he attack.
He does both.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, it's just a little bit of an extra threat in the bushes, you know, especially from ahead. If you can just drop down a bunch of saplings, you can do some chip damage. It gets very annoying when there's a lot of them. Execute is... He was looking for an angle, but Nongshim do respect it very nicely. They get the turret and they back away pretty much unscathed. They do gain about a 1,000 gold lead from this play. Closer still up on the top side. He just walked past a ward, but doesn't look like they're going to commit to all that much on the top side. Maybe just waiting for the next Drake to spawn, because it is Infernal Drake.
Imagine
Soul.
how much further Sylvie would be ahead if he didn't get his Krabby stolen, man.
Yeah, he'd be in a better spot. Yeah,
that 4 CS, it adds up, okay?
it does.
There's interest.
Snowballing.
So
You get that item quicker. You're hitting the camps quicker. You're
Yeah, I'm glad you get
getting
it.
more money quicker.
I know you've played.
You're hitting level 6. You're
enough
ganking
jungle
lane.
to get it. Oh, Fisher, don't. No. Execute's always in the brush.
I see him.
They know. I actually think it was the Void Scuttle spotting him there, because the ward was also getting chipped down.
Yes.
Oh!
Nongshim! 22 minutes in, and
They have Tristana with 2 items and they have Brand.
yeah. I mean, this is going to go down so fast, and you see that BNK Fearex are totally out of position. Now, Closer might just try to send it in here, or maybe they look for a fight afterwards, but this Baron is 100% Nongshim's, and so the lineup, oh no, as he misses! How does he miss in a 4v1? It doesn't matter, though, as BNK Fearex still able to pick up a bunch after this one. They're going to pick up Cougar as well, make it Sylvie for a 3rd kill. The Baron does go the way of Nongshim, but at least a bunch of kills go to BNK Fearex.
Depending on whether or not they can find the dragon. Oh no. It's going to be so worth. Closer realizes that if he actually, without his ult, gets caught by Tristana, he does just die. So ends up piecing out. This is going to be 2-2 for Drakes. What a call
That was really
from
crisp.
Nongshim. I'm wondering if that's the shot calling experience coming in.
I really hope so.
Well, we joke, but that is actually, that's the reason that they've given. And particularly with Tristana and the Brand, shoot for the objective in seconds. The problem here is that, so one person flashes at the end. I've seen this happen, you know, when there's too many targets, you just, you lose track. But fortunately, the extended chase is great because you have a TF who can very easily find a point and click CC. Also, Raptor able to use his ultimate to just make sure that by the end of it, it's a negative Red Bull Baron power play, at least for now. And Nongshim didn't actually get the dragon, which is huge, because getting soul points...
Okay, well, the knockout's going to miss, but the ult does land, and now the stun immediately comes in onto Closer, who is burning down, and Raptor's like, hey, man, let's send it. I love this. But he's not going to love going down, as that is going to be a kill here to Nongshim. Very...
Raptor was...
interesting skirmish.
Raptor soul Closer just kind of throw all of himself into multiple people, and it's like, wait, that looks fun, but he was Yone.
We can't all be Yone, man. Like, there are Yones and then there's Maokai's. Like, you gotta know your spot.
I'm seriously reconsidering my ranking of Lucid's Maokai, by the way. I was putting it out there.
Look at this. Henna just sending it into there, and he is going to pick up the kill, but immediately goes down. Clear, looking for Dundun, who is getting chipped very, very low. The Q comes in, and now clears 1v4. And, ooh, that was close. But he is not going to get the kill. And he does get taken out. This game is well and truly gone off the rails. Yep.
Oh! After last series failed us, I thought it couldn't get sillier. As we have an issue with trying to dive Brand. Sylvie actually is able to get the stun, right? So I think he got the E into Q, meaning that Closure just gets stunned immediately. And then Raptor is quickly finding out why on Maokai positioning matters a lot more. And then here, I like the idea, because this is how you want to use the Kai'Sa. But if Sylvie's there, you just die. And then this is peak Dundun. You know, the global taunt.
Look at this Q. Oh,
He just walks it. Oh, yeah. You know what? He could have just walked it off. Jiwa was there. He didn't need to go back in for that Q. But he does it anyway.
He does it.
Because he
And he lives.
is the king of top lane aura.
And he's only died once in this game, which is really, that's like
Of course, it's
so far ahead of where Dundun usually is, for better or for worse.
oh, what a series.
Now, this one, I mean, Nongshim, they've got a pretty good setup here to really push their advantage after that last play, after that weird skirmish in the jungle and mid lane. They get this mid inner, and they have moved about 3,000 gold into the lead. And yes, the Kai'Sa's big, the Ione's big, but you still gotta put 2 and 2 together when you're making these plays happen. You can't just have Closer jump in by himself, try to make the TikTok highlight, and then call it a day. You kind of have to be on the same page, you know?
From this position, for BNK, it's gonna be kind of tough. You're really looking to apply side lane pressure, normally with your 2 winning side lanes, Closer and Clear, both very threatening. But once you start falling behind, like this Tristana, bit of a menace. Fisher also picking up his QSS. I do quite like. Sterek's done for Dundun. Sylvie, I imagine going towards the Shadow Flame next at least, looking at his items. The one thing that Nongshim needs to be very careful of is a pick, because if you ever overextend in the side lane and Clear gold cards you, Henna can show up. And in that case, Sylvie was there, and the target was, outside of Guger, the tankiest member on Nongshim, so it didn't end up working out, but I wonder if at some point BNK are just going to fish, you know, and press an R button every now and then as, oh, look at that.
I love how we zoom in onto every sapling.
I don't know.
It's almost like Jonas Strong knows
Jonas
that
Strong
you hate it
doing-
as well.
Dude, this
He's in on the
spite
show.
me.
We've told him.
Did Kisan tell him?
Hide on bush?
Dundun is not fooled by these games.
Yeah.
I think he did know, but it didn't really matter. Oh.
And, I mean, Fisher's coming on over here. You see that BNK Fearx is definitely trying to play the map a bit. You know, they've got some setups on top side. They've got split pushing coming in from Clear. They have, you know, excellent split push potential.
Wait, Uno Reverso? Are they just... Yeah!
No.
Yeah!
Really?
Yeah, just do the same thing! They will never see it coming!
Just do the Baron. I mean, there's already pings coming in. They know.
If Kai'Sa.
Look at
This
the
is
damage.
gone.
This is insane.
If Kai'Sa!
Yeah, where's the jungler? Wait, Sylvie's like, oh, I did not get the memo. And Guger, he's going to get the memo. He's getting on in there. They are able to lock down Clear. He is dead. Meanwhile, the turnaround, but Dundun just survives for so long. Finally does go down, and Sylvie, look at the damage he's getting in the backline. Immediately gets assassinated, though. Meanwhile, Closer trying to go in a 1v3, and he is not going to win that one. And Nongshim will basically wipe the majority of this team. It's a very similar opposite situation that we had earlier on.
It's the same play. It's just
different teams.
they stole their whole flow. Word for word, bar for bar.
Bar for bar, man.
This series
How
is
could
so
they do that?
silly. Oh, so now Nongshim should be able to get themselves a soul point. Just like in the previous play, the timing's great. You have a very quick objective, but what's that? I know it was. Who was it that flashed away from that?
Execute.
It was Execute, right?
Yeah.
My man,
And he
it's
had-
your job to tank that. Come
He had
on.
his eclipse up. Like, he was so tanky and he would have never gone down.
Oh, Execute. I know
Nearly
you
as
love
fast.
pressing buttons, but that was not the one.
But also, I kind of do fault Clear for his positioning as well. I mean, you throw a gold card into an Alistar with ult right next to him.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
you're going to get ult comboed. Like, it's just going to happen.
Not going to do a whole lot. Now, does any of this matter? Is what I'm asking.
Elder flip?
Well, Sylvie, to me, is really showing a peak brand performance here as well. I'm flashing over the wall, and I know I'm dead,
Yeah.
but I will take as many people as I can with me. I think is a great way. And if you get an Inferno,
Oh, they found him. He does have the arm guard, but still in a bit of trouble. He's doing insane damage here, though, as Henna's going to go down, and the overextension comes out from BNK Purex closer. Also trying to send it, also trying to take down Jiwoo. As Dundun comes in, Raptor trying to peel here to get closer away, but there's a giant crocodile on top of him, and he will take down closer. Nongshim, they fight the fight in their own jungle.
the negative Red Bull Baron power play might signal the end of this game as well, Veldas. As Nongshim run down the mid lane. Ferex. Oh, death timers. Oh, 40 seconds on closer. I don't think they're making it. We are going to a game number 3. And BNK, the first game clean, calculated. Game 2, they got messy.
They
and
got real
Nongshim comes
messy.
out on top.
It got so messy, and Nongshim, that is their comfort zone. From behind, they pull it back. They get an even game state, and immediately they are able to do so much with it. Fisher and Sylvie putting up some big farm numbers, and eventually they just got so big that you saw that BNK Ferex, they were a bit desperate to try to punish some of those squishy carries, and it did come back to bite them. And so the move over to red side does actually work for Nongshim in one way or another. And we'll have to wait and see what side BNK Ferex does select for game 3.
Remember you highlighted the mid-jungle duo. For me, really the highlight here. Sylvie, even though his KDA didn't look that great, I think he was at the right place, right time, able to pump out some, I'm sure will be absolutely absurd damage numbers, as Brand often does.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of cheating with the way that his passive and Leandri's work, but still gonna be happy for BNK. This is one where the coaches are gonna go and go, guys, you were in a fine spot. Even when they lost, they were like 3K gold behind.
Yeah.
This was not a we need to flip the game or it's donezo situation, but they treat it like one anyway, and it ends up backfiring. Look, when they make the play, it's like 2K gold.
Yeah. It was a very close game. I mean, it was really anybody's game from there, but just felt like they felt a bit desperate. They felt like they had to kind of send it in order to get themselves back into the game, and it just backfired immediately, and Nongshim immediately capitalized on that one. So game number 2 in the series. Fisher having a big one on the Tristana, and we are going to be done here for this second game. We're going to have a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
한턴 밀자. 나도 사올게 그냥. 바텀은 내가 갈게.
이게 레오나
야
다 존나 있어. 에 빨렸다. 미쳤는데.
괜찮아.
야 요네 봐.
바로 가줘.
끝낼만해.
미드로 가. 나 W 없어.
요네. 천천히. 나. 미드라인. 미드라인 내가 할게. 나 끝내. 끝낼 수 있지? 끝낼 수
Really
Really
strong.
smart.
I don't know how they figured that one out because Humble Life and DK were not able to do so.
Yeah. Well,
It's okay. It's okay. We live and learn as the Rumble remains strictly on the ban list. Skarner on red side also a must ban. And BNK say, we got you.
they got us. That they do. And what is the rest of this going to look like? We did see a lot of Kalista bans going out, Senna bans, pretty stable. We also did see the Yone ban from Nongshim, their first time out on blue side, but that was the first ban. They haven't banned it just yet. Tristana going to be taken off the board here. Probably a good idea after that last game. And it will be Yone as well at the end of these bans.
Despite the fact that the Yone was not enough to actually get the win, still felt like a tough ask to play into it. Don't want to risk it. What will be the first pick here? The Corki, again, I don't think really hit the mark. Varus can be the pick. I think it worked out very, very nicely. Slots rather into basically every single comp that you could want. Picking it up early doesn't really push you into a specific direction you drop, so that will be the pick up here. I love seeing Jiwoo on hybrid carries. It's one of my favorite things. I think he's incredibly strong on things like the Zeri. His Smolder comes to mind as well. But realistically, we're not in a hyper carry meta right now.
Yeah.
More about these bursty 80 carries. Lethality still really, really strong at the moment.
Something's never changed. Jin is going to be selected here. And the Taliyah, I mean, still an opportunity to try to look for that Taliyah Vi angle once again. And I would hope that this time around, Nongshim recognize this, especially if Taliyah gets picked here and they try to maybe take the Vi away. Because that combo is just so strong.
Hear me out. You lock in Vi here, but then you rotate it to top because Dundun has been taking lessons from Addy in how to play Vi top.
How about you give Vi to Cougar?
It was banned. It was banned against him. They banned Vi top, Veldas. I don't make the rules.
They said it was Galio top.
They also banned that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dindon liked his Renekton.
Ooh.
And it's Kuei.
I think Kuei right now, extremely strong. Again though, Vi is the no-brainer here. Alternatively, you can go for Leona or Nautilus, something that can set up the Jhin. Jhin, I think, are the strongest when you can follow up on the teammate CC, but this should come as a no-brainer. Realistically, the Vi is alone insanely strong. The combination with Taliyah is just as impressive as it was with Vi or Lee LeBlanc. Right, we've had Vi Ari, which I think was the most oppressive one that I can think of in recent times. But this one will get the job done as well, for sure.
Yeah, it does make your job pretty easy when you just press R and the guy is locked down. Then Italy is still going to be banned away, this time with the Renekton kind of hanging out there. I don't mind this ban. And we have seen a lot of Nidalee bans recently today. So that is going to be taken off the board as well. And let's see what we see from the side of Nongshim here. You gotta look to potentially deny some big supports away from a strong Jhin lane, or do you want to try to close the door on clear and make your Renekton a little bit safer? But first it'll be the Nautilus.
I actually wouldn't have minded if they ended up going, which they're not going to, because I think it'll be a lot easier to just play with an engaged support of your own. But I wouldn't have minded if they left up like the Nautilus and then end up picking the Renata. Renata Varus is a really strong lane. And one of the downsides of the BNK comp thus far is that it is relatively short range. Outside of the Vi ult, there is a lot of incentive for you to go in, try and make it happen close to your opponents. And Renata Hui as well is a combo that I think is really obnoxious to play into because you want to engage, you have to engage, otherwise you get poked down, but
they deny it.
Yeah, exactly.
All the time. And they have a very annoying Croc that just sits in the front as well and absorbs quite a lot of pressure.
But it's instead, this is signaling, please go for the Leona. And if you don't, we'll be able to get it ourselves. Leona Varus, obviously, a solid combo.
Yeah.
I imagine the Leona is the most obvious lock in here. Combines really well with the Vi, and it's Aaliyah. Provides the setup. Jhin Leona combo we've seen a million times, and it will get picked up here. What is Noshim gonna play? Don't have to go AP here for Sylvie, but that is the flavor of the month at the moment. You know what?
Varus.
You know what?
Morgana.
So it can be that. Can also be Morgana jungle. But Black Shield?
Or you just pick Alistar.
Well,
I mean, you still can pick Morgana in the jungle.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate it.
Alistar and Morgana.
Morgana?
Such an annoying comp to play in.
Yeah.
Like, imagine playing
Morgana Hui?
Morgana Hui
and
and Alistar, who just sits there.
No! No! It was so good. I got so excited. Black Shield into Leona into Vi? Why would you put that idea in our heads,
Or
Sylvie?
after Sylvie picking up POG on his AP jungler.
No,
I mean, they have a way, so.
No, also it's good, right? Like Alistar and Leona, Alistar Sejuani is a great combo. Sejuani Renekton is a really strong combo. You have the auto reset on the, like.
Yeah, but it's not as fun.
Well, no, I know that, Valdez.
Cassante. Speaking of fun, it is going to be Cassante in the top lane against this Renekton.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be, I'm gonna need like, I don't know, 5 minutes of sulking time.
Yeah, you know, that's fair. I'm okay with
Just
it.
a bit.
We all need our sulking time from time to time. I'm
also-
excited to see Fisher playing Hui, though.
I had a great joke about it's also Solka time in the LCS because Quad got promoted.
Yeah.
So he's there now. It's not topical, but
Yeah. Also, it's not Sulka, it's Solka, so.
yeah, well, it sounds. I know it's not what you're saying, Elvis. My English,
Yeah, yeah.
might fail me at times, but I hope I haven't sung.
I was just making fun.
You were making. Okay,
Yeah.
I should have.
No, it was fine. This is
It's getting late.
carry,
Rick.
super carry, hyper carry.
It's a 11:15 in Korea, and the kids still out and about, living their best life.
Look at that Hecarim. Said right after I finished finals, I ran here like Hecarim. Also, that was a very good cat meme that I'm
Maybe
sure
he
you
has-
guys recognize.
He has the glaive as well. He's just running through the streets of Seoul, swinging.
That sounds illegal.
It's it's like a bag.
Yeah,
that's more
okay.
Sejuani
Yeah, I guess that's
Hecarim.
fine. Yeah, but she has a flail, which is also probably illegal. It's getting late here. Let's jump into game number 3 between Noshim and BNK.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지
I noticed
30초
the
남았습니다.
fan chant is still just Fearx fighting. You got to put the BNK
Let's
in.
not delve into this. Well, I don't have the energy. It's BNK. if you're just tuning in,
Yeah, it's the new sponsor.
if you're just wondering,
Or
and I think that
BNK Fearx.
/ BNK, right? BNK is the new sponsor. I actually really like the fact that they are so focused on being an organization from Busan, right? Like esports in Korea is so centered around Seoul that it kind of feels like the default. So seeing a team really lean into by getting sponsorship deals with like they're a actual Busan organization as well, right? The headquarters is although they have a facility here, as far as I know, is in Busan, and they have now BNK, Bank from Busan, that also sponsors them. So that part is all great. I'm just still sad because I love the Fearless Foxes, and I really
The BNK Fearless
well,
Foxes.
no, that's the thing. We have to call. I respect. You know, I think it's great. I think it's super cool to see these new organizations come into esports. It's very essential for the longevity of the sport. But I just love foxes. I love animals, and I wish we could just call them fox. But
Yeah, not meant to be. Little trade coming in. Execute, just utilizing that health bar as a resource. Try to pressure the enemy 80 carry. Always going to feel good. You have the lane pushing into them, so you're going to hit level 2 first. which they do now. And that will always happen against the Alistair. You guys probably know this. But yeah, Jin Leona, this is going to be pretty fun to watch. We did see Hannah was playing the Varus before.
Chiu actually getting zoned out of some XP there. We'll head level 2 a little bit later than Guger. Should be able to catch him off this wave. My main question is, does Raptor want to adjust his pathing? The answer is no. Not going to run the risk. They did get a little bit of damage down, but don't want to go too ham here. Instead, just both junglers clear into opposite sides of the map. Nothing too crazy happening here early on. Closer, though, taking a really early back here. Let's get his tier, but wonder if the trading was less than favorable for him. And then Fisher might for this is
hiding on bush. They're going to try to set this up, but unfortunately they engage onto the Alistair, which doesn't end up doing too much. Alistair into Leona just kind of loves when she engages right in, and you just press Q right as she goes for the combo, so Guger's totally fine. Ju still a little bit behind on health, though, so kind of a awkward spot for him, also low on mana, so.
Yeah, does have a cookie. And it's also important to know
that's actually a biscuit.
Okay, I want to ask you about this. Actually, this is something I don't think this third game is going to be as high.
I feel like we've had this conversation though. I think it looks like a cinnamon roll.
It's flat though.
I mean, I think that's just the 2D nature of like the picture. Like I haven't seen a high def picture of the biscuit.
Jason is telling us a total biscuit of everlasting, which obviously
it is a biscuit.
Is a really cool reference as well. But so we know that, but I think we can, you know, Koenig Rockern exists, and nobody knows what that is, so we can still talk about it.
Hey, we looked it up.
What, Koenig Rockern?
Yeah.
If that's it's not a thing.
Yeah, but it was like kind of based on things.
Well, yeah, in a way, but they're still made up their own words, which is how all words, you know, are created generally. But
generally, you feel like you have to come up with a word for something, you know, your environment, and then you kind of...
Exactly.
Yeah, but they just kind of made something. And so I guess it required a word, so they made it. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, G went back, he picked up his tier, and the lane's going to kind of just reset, so not going to miss all too much. Meanwhile, Fisher has been doing pretty well here in the mid lane, but it's still an even situation, but level 6 hit for the way, so Closer is going to have to respect that. He's kind of low on mana here as well, but we'll back on the cannon wave. Shouldn't miss too much.
I can only imagine that Dundun is so happy that he doesn't just get to play Cassante only anymore. He now also gets to play Renekton again. Crocs,
he doesn't get to
so
play
back.
Skarner, though.
Yeah, well, nobody.
I want to see Dundun playing Skarner.
I don't know if he should have that much power.
I feel like he would feel so powerful that he would just always go for the crazy plays, and it would be really enjoyable to watch. Like, they might lose and he might not play well, but I think it would be fun to watch.
It would be. Yeah. He's always fun to watch. We all know. Sylvie going to be starting up. Trade coming through here. Grubs for Nongshim. Do have the Renekton. Outside of that, I don't think their turret pushing power is necessarily what they're going to be playing for. Gotta say though, the Nongshim composition to me feels so well-rounded. I do think you can get into trouble if you lose control in mid-game because the the BNK rather composition does completely take over if you ever lose control, because if you get CC'd, you die, right? There's so much follow-up, there's so much ways to lock you down, and there's so much burst available as well that can't ever really lose control. But if Nongshim get into mid-game on even footing, you have a comp that's really hard to engage on with really good poke. Alistair by himself.
Level 6 buy.
Oh, Fisher.
Oh, he's in so much trouble. That's the combo, and that is a dead way on your screen. Doesn't even bother to flash. It's just first blood here for Closer. He was putting so much pressure on, and Raptor, he just waited, hit level 6, shows up, and it's a kill.
Sylvie, I think, was doing red at the time, and crucially there, Raptor as well also hits the Q. I think if he doesn't hit the Q and it's just the ult, Fisher might be able to maybe get out, right, if he survives the initial burst, but not only does he hit the Q, he also takes a turret shot, so definitely the right call to not use your summoner there, but it is another reminder as to why this combination of Vi and Taliyah is so highly valued. Claire has gone for the very early Bramble Vest, which is okay. Renekton doesn't really need to auto you before he ends up queuing you, so value doesn't necessarily need to be that crazy. Then he's going to be looking to get as many Demolish procs as he can. He'll have some vision, but needs to be a little careful. So you do have some people in his general vicinity.
Yeah, Raptor now feeling pretty good about his situation. He already got a nice gank off. He's getting into the enemy jungle now, actually picking up the blue buff, stealing it away from Sylvie. He also got that early Hextech Drake on top of it all. So he's been power farming pretty well. He's ahead of his top laner in terms of CS right now, which is a bit of him farming well, but also Clear falling behind a bit. But might be a pretty significant Vi on the map here, especially if he can finish that first item very quickly. It is going to be Sylvie coming in here with this team, but Guger's going to get knocked over the wall. Nice flash here from Closers. Dude tries to set that one up. Execute, meanwhile, he's like, 1v4, no problem. I'm getting in there. And he is going to go on to Guger, but now Closer, no flash, and they're just trying to turn onto him. And now Guger's going to be in a rough spot himself, but Closer does go down first, and Execute on the flash away, and he's taking so much damage. They're tanking the turret. Please get the kill. That they will, and Sylvie just barely survives. Meanwhile, Dundun's watching all that, and he's like, I gotta fight too. Doesn't amount to too much, but Nongshim, nice little trade in the jungle.
Nongshim coming up big there. I don't fully understand the decision of FearX to re-engage there, besides the fact that they're being FearX. That's what they do. They look for fights. They try and make the big plays. Realistically, in that situation, by a little bit more than they could chew. As we take another look, this, no notes. Perfectly done. Gets the flash Q. From that point on, Fisher knows that he is very, very dead. Turret shot didn't even end up being necessary realistically. And in theory, I do think that this can work. Because you have Jhin, you have Great CC, but they're going in too early. Like, Raptor isn't here. So you're down a member. Jiwoo actually ends up tanking for Guger, which means that Hannah just doesn't do anything with his ultimate. And by the time Raptor arrives, there's not a whole lot going on. This is very reminiscent of what we saw earlier on, right? Where the idea behind the play can be good, but just like Nongshim found out themselves, if you're a little bit too early, it doesn't work. You have to pay pretty heavily for that. Because Dundun doesn't have ult right now, so is actually diveable, but he has been in this situation before, Valdez.
He's a grizzled veteran at this point in terms of dealing with top lane situations. Fisher just being Hui, pushing really fast. Meanwhile, Raptor is going to go for the... the lockdown's going to come in here, Closer in a bit of trouble, although they turn it onto Fisher as an ult is going to be thrown into Closer, and he gets sniped from downtown. They throw in the damage, and now taking up the turn again here is Sylvie. And Nongshim, man, they're making these plays happen.
Execute and Closer dying again here in mid lane. It's the CC chain from Nongshim coming up huge. Fisher in particular on the way, together with Sylvie, looking like a very consistent duo this time around. And as we were being told by G-Sun apparently in the interview, Fisher has mentioned as well, he was very confident playing Akali, Tristana, and Hui. I remember as Akali from Challengers, Tristan and Hui have looked good so far as maybe a bit of caster curse here.
Yeah, this is a bit of, I'm really fed, I want to, push my lead as much as possible, and he's just a bit too far, although, I mean, he is delaying this pretty nicely, but eventually he will be taken down, gives that money over to the Cassante. It is Ocean Soul again.
How did B&K also get the dragon there? Huh.
I just got it.
Well, yeah, but they were making a play to the top side of the map. Generally, you don't really get to do both. Very funny here, as I'm pretty sure Sylvie did not know about Execute. It's Jiwoo that starts off this play, and crucially here, Fisher isn't actually in turret range. Because if he is, and that Zenith Blade lands, that's the end of the play, but instead, it's not the case. Execute, not level 6 yet. So just ends up going down. The rest of the team not in a place to respond, and this is... Fisher feels really safe because his team is taking the... I'm pretty sure it's the grubs.
Yeah.
Is taking the grubs, but I don't know that about the timer. Yeah, the grubs. And on the other
rest
end of
of
the map,
grubs. Yeah.
Raptor was doing dragon, so he feels very safe. Unfortunately for him, ends up paying, giving over the shutdown, which is a pretty nice gold swing. Okay, gonna be feeling good about that one, but not enough in of itself to put Nongshim on the back foot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, yes, BNK Fearx, they have been able to pick up 2 Drakes, but little Nongshim lead at the moment, and you know, it's a champ that Fisher is pretty confident on. We've seen that he has played it so far very well. And we've seen this matchup in the past into the Taliyah, so it seemed like a pretty perfect situation for him to pick it in this game. So excited to see what else he can do on this pick. So far, pretty much anybody's game. We saw in game 2 especially, like game 1 was very clean from BNK Fearx. They kind of got an early lead, they got some very nice skirmishes, they punished some mistakes from Nongshim, and then they kind of just shut the door and didn't make many mistakes. Game 2, BNK Fearx easily could have won that game. Nongshim won it in the end. It went back and forth a lot. This game seems in a pretty similar spot. I wouldn't be surprised if BNK Fearx makes some more waves in this one, as we still have some shenanigans over the blue buff. Sylvie still going to take it down once again.
The Warlocks first build back on Sejuani. Sejuani was always a big lover of the Warlocks, specifically because she gets a lot of free resistances from her passive with Frost Armor, so getting a big health bar is always going to feel really, really good. And unsurprisingly, with Warlocks being as strong as it is right now, we haven't really talked about it just yet, but you've seen, if you've been paying attention as well, a lot of supports just consistently go it as a first item as well. So it's quite strong. Forced to cleanse there.
And again, the cleanse too, also going to be cleansed though, and he gets rooted up to follow up, execute he once more, but it is Cougar on the Alistair, who is burning down quite a bit, but with the Unbreakable Will and no vision in the river at all, they will not continue to chase that.
That's 2 ultimates gone. I think that might mean that they won't be able to contest. Because yeah, Nongshim throw a bunch of ultimates into that fight, or I don't even know if it was a fight, but that skirmish themselves as well.
Scuffle.
It was really just Cougar taking the beat down. It's fine. It doesn't end up being a problem. As we see, Claire has gone for a very aggressive build as we're diving Cassante.
Diving Cassante. I mean, it is 3 guys, and they have ults to come in, and they are able to put 2 and 2 together. The CC chain is great, and they take down Clear. And it will make quick work of them. Very decisive play from Nongshim. Don't see that all the time.
We're starting to see some of the cracks here for BNK. It feels like when they're the team, and we talked about this coming into the series, when they're the team making the plays, they look wonderful. When they're proactive, when they're in control, but both of these teams just don't look good if they ever get to a deficit as a Chiwu. That doesn't mean that much, but it feels like it does, right? Like getting these moments when you're pushing and taking down an inner on top side, that's huge.
Yeah, that feels good. Taking whatever you can away from your opponents while getting huge value yourselves. As you can see, some of the difference here on the gold board in kills and turrets mostly is where you'll see the lead going in favor of Nongshim.
Really?
To the other things.
What's most interesting to me is how much of gold is passive gold.
Yeah.
Right, isn't that crazy?
It's a lot. Yeah, no, it ticks the whole game, so, you know, 16
it makes
minutes
sense,
in.
But
yeah. That's pretty cool. The turret is going to go down here in mid, and that's going to set up Nongshim for a very nice position here in the mid lane and going for these Ocean Drakes. It's going to be interesting if they can stack up a bunch of these Ocean Drakes here, especially with Renekton, Sejuani, and Alistair. But trying to set up for this one, it does look like BNK Fearx do not want to back away from this fight as Jiu, he has to flash away, and he doesn't have much help here. The pit he's going to be taken down immediately, and that is the AD carry gone already. Raptor is taking a huge beating in the pit himself, but he's pretty far ahead here on this Vi, and now Dundun surviving for so long, and the Cassante just gonna thrive in positions like this. Execute, you are an absolute madman, but it is beautiful behind the pit here. He sets up the extra kills onto everybody else on the side of Nongshim. Even the kill going on to Sejuani. Lots of low health bars, but a massive win for BNK Fear-X.
Because that means they get the Ocean Soul point. And they are not ready. Dundun starts off with his ultimate early on because he was afraid that he would get collapsed on. But what happens instead is Execute. Even with them knowing he's there, it doesn't change the equation. The player gets on top of the backline. And gets the fire down from range. And Execute zoning away Fisher there. And without Jiwoo there, Fisher is the one who needs to do all the damage. And he can't. He's being zoned away. Execute going in there is peak Execute. Ends up being the difference maker. The fact that Sylvie goes down as well to the W there. Deadly flourish indeed for Henna.
Yeah. And that's just a massive turnaround. I mean,
look at that.
So points. Look at the huge dip in the goal difference. That does go in favor of BNK Fear-X. Now, again, it's still a very close game, but in terms of the current mental state, the map control, you can see that it is a big step forward for the side of BNK as Execute once again. Oh, that's gonna feel nice. They're gonna get this lockdown now onto the Wei, who has no way to get out of this one. Massive knockup comes in from the Taliyah, but is anybody actually gonna die in this fight? Okay, finally it happens, but the Jin goes down. Fisher and Guga are so low, and the rest of the team is just not able to follow up on that either. Continuous knockups coming out from the Taliyah, the Cassante, over and over again. And it's another fight win here for BNK Fear-X.
It's a 2-4-3 trade here for BNK. Clear going unending despair second. He is getting a ton of value out of that item. And the really big problem here is that the only person that can actually kill Clear is Fisher. So if Execute's on top of Fisher, they don't have the damage. And this starts off with Jiwoo kind of styling on Execute. But the ultimate hits, and crucially Fisher gets hit with the Deadly Flourish. And if Clear's on top of him, the only one that can kill Clear is Fisher. Fisher somehow ends up making it out with the shielding that Hui has. But because Clear has dragged Jiwoo again out of the fight, damage simply isn't there. It'll be big win. Now 2K gold lead here for BNK. And crucially, we're also seeing, again, the value of that Taliyah. With the amount of CC that they have, if anyone ever gets CC'd, you get Taliyah flicked, you're dead. Yeah. There's just not a whole lot that you can do. And Nongshim really need to find a way to keep the space. Because if they can sit there, take pot shots with Jiwoo and Fisher, they can still win fights. Like, yeah, they're behind, but it's like 1.5K gold at 20 minutes.
Yeah. No, it's still anybody's game for sure. I keep saying this, but you know, based on what we've seen in the series and the current level of this matchup has definitely flipped from side to side at times. Has been a bit of a heart rate monitor in terms of the goal difference. And yes, BNK is going to be in the lead right now, but Fisher's still very fed. Dude, not half bad himself, not very fed, but at least serviceable. Are we gonna have any crazy Baron moments in this game, I do wonder. Raptor looking for the Hui. Fisher not gonna find him.
I'm letting the tension build on us. I'm just making sure everyone knows.
Yeah. Just
this is day one, Valdez.
This is day one,
It's currently 10 past 11 in Korea.
Yeah.
We've been treated to
getting our values worth today.
A lot of ups and downs. LCK's back, and we're just showing that we can go the distance.
Just showing that anybody can win on any given day. We saw earlier today, spoilers, that D+ Keo was able to take down Humble Life Esports. And in some pretty impressive fashion as well. I think that Lucid is on his game, Showmaker's on his game. There was a lot of Skarner, which was interesting to see, but not a lot of Skarner in this series, banned every game. And in this one, it really does feel like, you know, there have been some big ups and downs. I think Nongshim looked great at the beginning of this game, but now BNK are in total control of this one as now trying to set up the play. Raptor is in so much trouble. Gonna try to lock down Jiu, but there's no follow-up to take down the Varus. Finally, the Kasate does get in there and pulls him back, but still is going to be a lead currently to the side of Nongshim. But not so much in terms of health bars as Closer looking for more. He wants Cougar, gets the knockup, gets the stun, and there's the fourth shot to take down the Alistar, making it an even trade right before this Ocean Drake comes up. But BNK in a pretty good spot to take it down. Let's see if Nongshim want to fight for it.
It doesn't get to play the game.
Uh-oh. Ooh, that was close. Oh, he's just gonna get flash seismic shoved, and that's gonna be the end of the way in the mid lane. Oh my God, Closer is taking names here in this game.
Him and Clear are the consistency that's needed. Raptor starts off with him getting engaged on him. That's probably going to be the soul. That's going to be such a big win here. These fights are so messy, and for BNK, a Kasante with unending despair and an Ocean Soul.
Yeah.
That might be too much to deal with, and it's Nongshim. I think still looking a little bit all over the place. As this starts off well. Yeah, they kill Raptor. But Jiwoo, Clear gets on top of him, and Dundun, by the time he joins in this fight, he isn't able to do a whole lot. And really, realistically, I think they have to try to fight here. Because if you, against Jin Talia in particular, if you try to disengage, it's not happening. Like between the wall and the ultimate, and I don't think that looked like a great fight. But if Dundun can get on top of someone, maybe that's enough. But
this is like the kind of play you make in solo queue when you're playing Talia.
yeah.
But it just pays off in huge dividends if you hit it, and it's risky, but it works. Everybody's grouped up here against the Hui damage, but there's not many members of Nongshim besides this. Execute might die, but to be honest, that happens a decent amount regardless. And yeah, they're just going to get that pick onto Sylvie, who does finish his Thorn Mail maybe just a little bit too late. And yeah, Execute's going to get low, but he's got an Ocean Soul, so maybe they could set up some vision control around the Baron and get something going here.
Despite all this, the gold is still relatively even for Nongshim, so they're going to be holding on to that. Going to desperately try and keep the poke. The one downside is that for BNK, it can be a little tough as we take a look at what happened here. So he didn't have smite, so Jiu just walks it off, which is quite funny, but Sylvie has to flash and ends up not making it out of the wall. We are seeing, though, this is pre-Crypt Bloom, that Fisher does have a ton of damage. So if you're in a position where Fisher can rain down and Jiwoo gets to maybe hit a Q, it can still be an angle. But realistically, these fights have gone so insanely favored towards BNK, because what happens is someone gets CC'd, Closer flicks them back, and then Clear has all the time in the world.
Yeah, and if you give a Kasante a lot of time, it's not going to go well for you.
No.
He just gets better and better and better as the fight goes on. It doesn't feel very good if you are up against that and you can't take him down. At least, you know, nowadays, not a lot of Ghost Kasante. We saw some nerfs.
I also love that BNK is like, we're not starting Nash.
We learned after game 2. That's not a thing anymore, not in this series.
Nash is fake. Nash is bait. 2-spot Raptor, but collapsing onto him. Not happening right now. Close level 16. The range of that ultimate.
I love the way that Raptor plays this. He's not like farming his jungler or doing anything. He's always in position to support whoever needs it in terms of kill pressure. Just hiding around, lack of vision. Now, the rest of the team is getting engaged upon. As I say this, Cougar is getting on in there. This is a 5v3 right now, as Execute is in a lot of trouble. They can't get the kill onto him anyway, as in goes Raptor, way into that backline. Fisher in a bit of trouble, but the peel does come through from Dundun, trying his best to flash over the whole wall. And now the Jhin ultimate is going to be pulled out. And Sylvie going to threaten him as Raptor goes back in. Dundun is solo and finally does get taken down. Not the cleanest fight, but still BNK will be happy with the way that this one is going. As they take out the top laner, they're looking for more. Cougar is all by himself, and I think he's just dead.
Oh no, Jiwoo.
학살 중입니다.
Oh, he knows. Clear tried to sell it, but it's not gonna happen. Oh! Yeah, unfortunately, there's still a ward in there, so...
Okay, but
Is he just trying to wait and just wait until... he's just going to wait until he walks away so he can't flash over the wall. That's going to be the end of Jiwoo, and now they feel safe to take the Baron.
Sylvie, this is your moment. All or nothing, no vision, just instinct.
The eye of the tiger.
You have to. It's the only way you
Just
keep
send
the team
it.
in this game.
He doesn't have any. Okay. It's going to be a little bit of vision, but that might just be that Fisher does go down, and Sylvie's like, I've got to try. I got to get into the pit. I got to do something. But he's just dead. And they're going to stop all DPS. He is surviving for quite a long time, but yeah, nice stoppage of DPS there from the side of BNK. That could have gotten a little bit dicey, but it is still a clean play that lasted about 2 minutes.
I like this from Nongshim. This is the Hail Mary, right? You got to go for this. It's not looking good. You're engaging at the front line, but it's all or nothing at this point in time. Execute ends up going down, but you waste so much. And crucially, even though Fisher is able to get out, the back line is very low. So Sylvie and Dindin have very little space. But crucially, the arrows just aren't hitting the way that you need to. And this Jin, again, gets the shots off. Yeah, Dindin sidesteps a few, but still gets on top of him. And with that, that was your Hail Mary. That was your opportunity. It's so hard to play into champions like Italia when they do get a sizable lead. We're seeing here now, and I think FairX, BNK, they've done it. Well, that's Baron's taken, Elder's on the cards as well, but this one does feel done and dusted.
Do you believe now?
Back and forth.
Yeah, I believe as well. I think they've done enough damage at this point. You know, the Ocean Soul is paying off in dividends. Very long fights where they're catching people off guard, and yeah, it looks like Execute is caught, but actually he's just baiting them into a fight. And now with the Baron buff trying to chip away at these structures, 10,000 gold ahead. And we do have this Elder spawning, so it looks like they are going to back off for now. But still a chance potentially for Nongshim to challenge here on the Elder. Could turn into a pretty interesting flip scenario if they could get in there. Let's see if they can, but the wave clear is pretty good right now from the side of BNK FairX. Closer also just holding the door here, gonna force that ult out of Cougar. Meanwhile, Clear has found the backline himself onto Fisher, and he is gonna all out into that one, and Fisher just has no help, nobody to peel this Cassante off of him. Same for Jiwoo as he is going to go down, Dindin as well, and that might just do it. Big smile on the face of Execute as BNK take another big fight and look to push to ends.
Don't even need that Elder. Well, that's Ocean Soul, the health bars. Still full. It was a back and forth. But BNK, FairX with some of their sponsor CEOs here going to be feeling great about this victory. Big win for them. Big grin.
Yeah, there they are.
Closer.
Stayed until the very end, until the wee hours of the night, but it will be BNK FairX to take the victory 2-1 over Nongshim. It's easier said than done. I think that Nongshim put up a nice fight, but at the end of the day, BNK just a bit stronger, just a little bit cleaner, I'd say there. Nongshim had a really nice thing going early on in that game, but they just were a bit too over-aggressive at the wrong time. And the amount of CC that was there to punish from the side of BNK's comp in Game 3 was enough to get them ahead and eventually take down the win.
Feels to me like Nongshim, they're basically the same team. I'm not seeing any huge changes. I think there's some moments, the Baron call comes to mind, where they were able to make it work. But BNK, and you can see as well, obviously got it, that was a tough loss. But BNK are looking more like the version of themselves that I think a lot of people, including me, enjoyed back in the day, right? Back when they were Live Sandbox, back when they were even regular Sandbox. Very aggressive, always playing the same style. And was this a clean series? No. But I think they still look better than they did last split. I think last split was really kind of a breaking point for them. And come on, they gotta love these characters.
That is the third celebration we have seen. She's from Canada. Not sure how that's related, but came down to support these guys in the victory. And yeah, it was a fun first day. Had 6 full games We had some one-sided games. We had some comeback victories. We got a bow here from the side of BNK. So many fans coming down here to support the LCK here for summer 2024. And yeah, it's going to be, you know, I feel like in the interview we had both of these teams highlighting just how important this matchup is, because at the end of the day, are one of these teams going to beat a Gen G, a T1? It's going to be difficult, right? A T1 even, or rather a Humlife Esports even, a DK can be difficult. So getting the wins here against some of the other Eastern teams can be, you know, split making. That could be the reason why they make it into playoffs by the end of it all.
These matches early on, we had a great time, but they're often going to be forgotten as we get deeper and deeper into the split. Human memory only goes so far. This one might end up being a big difference maker way down the line when we, as you're saying, talking about the playoff chances for either of these teams. That is really, and we've seen this with Brian in the past, what so many of these Eastern teams fight for, right? It's just a 6th spot, just the opportunity. And you know, when you get to playoffs, realistically, you're going to end up playing a team that's going to crush you in the best of 5. That's not what it's about. You want that sense of progression. You just want to keep going a little bit further.
That's about.
That's what they want to. They want to get to that 7th place, but
yeah,
BNK, they were their last split, and I think they're looking to make playoffs this time around.
It's just about the small iterations, you know. Ju said in the interview, he didn't say, we're going to win LCK. It's a bit unrealistic at this point. He's like, we want to make playoffs. We want to be on top of the Eastern side. We want to get to 6th place because, you know, you get some extra practice. You get some more confidence in your players. You begin to develop even faster. It all becomes a snowball of positive reinforcement. So, yeah, definitely a very important win for BNK FearX to potentially get things going. I feel like Raptor, you know, the one big change for this roster that we did see was overall pretty good. I thought his Vi positioning was great. As we're just listening into the last moments of this team fight.
Some of these mid-game calls, I'm sure, are still going to give Ryu a bit of a headache when talking to his players. But the important thing is they didn't let it get to them, because there were parts of the game where it felt like Nongshim was taking back control. BNK, keep it together, keep their heads on, and utilize that Vi to Leah combo with great effect.
That they do. I feel like, especially for some of the teams that are, you know, struggling for those playoff spots, compositions like this are, I feel like, a bit easier to execute, right?
Yeah.
You get Vi presses are, Leona goes in, Talia's getting stuff done, the Casante's very hard to kill, he's getting a lot of value, building off of all of that crowd control, and they get it done. So it took a while. Nongshim put up a good fight, but it was a bit too much in the end. So we are done here on the cast for today. It was quite the long day, and we're going to have even more in the rest of this week. But let's throw it over to the space to break down this series now.
Thank you very much. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Raptor and Closer on the side of BNK FearX, who are the 2nd victors of 2024 LCK Summer. Raptor, how do you feel? This is my first match as a starting lineup, and I was very nervous, and I thought I would be a lot more nervous and jittery on stage, but I feel like I did a lot better, so I'm really glad that we're able to secure today's victory. And Closer, how do you feel? Now this is our first victory together, and I feel like Raptor is so cute being up here with me in the interview. So Closer, you got the chance to play alongside Raptor for the first time this summer. How's that going? I feel like he's very aggressive, which really works well with me, and it's actually really good in terms of our synergy. Yeah, so BNK FearX has the image of a feisty dinosaur, and you, the real dinosaur, joined Raptor. So how are you adapting to the team's color? Yeah, my teammates are doing really well, and they're treating me really well, so it's actually helping me melt into the team a lot better. And so Closer, you're looking a lot stronger than in spring. So what did you try to reinforce during the off-season? feel like I'm really good at duelist champions, and I feel like I had to really work on my mage champion. So I feel like all that practice definitely paid off. And Raptor, with the Talia Vi comp, you won 2 out of 2 games. So is this a viable comp in the current meta? Yeah, it's only the start of the season, so we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like it really comes down to which team will play better. And Closer, what are your thoughts? Yeah, I feel like we're really competent when it comes to using Talia Vi, and I think that's why we were just good with this comp, and that's how we were able to win today. And after the defeat in Game 2, you guys picked red side for Game 3. So what was the strategy here? So with the red side pick, we decided that we were able to take the 2 good picks, and we really wanted to go ahead and get those, secure those 2 picks, just lock that in, and then proceed from there. And in Game 3, it looked like you guys flipped the game around through just a few team fights. And so what's the idea that you would have to win, you have a winning team comp if you team fight, or were you just simply confident in the brawl? I feel like it was just such a winnable fight, so that's probably why we were able to just go ahead, collide on with the team fight and win. And Closer, how would you rate your Talia play? Like, aside from dying in the early game, I think I did pretty well. So I feel like as long as I'm able to hone my skills and minimize those mistakes, it would be a lot better. I would rate myself maybe about 95 out of 100, just minus the points from dying so early. And it looks like your 2 CEOs attended Low Park today. Did you get the CEO buff? Did you feel it? Yeah, I think so. I felt that. Anything you'd like to say to them? Thank you so much for our support and your faith in us. And I feel like I want to make sure that we continue displaying what we showed you today. And Closer. Yeah, so we were told that our CEOs would be coming, and we told ourselves, oh my gosh, we need to win today, and I'm just glad that we were able to win. And Raptor, looking ahead, what kind of jungler do you want to be in the LCK? I want to be a good player that plays aggressively. I think that's my goal. I feel like a team-wide goal would be to make it to the playoffs. And Closer. And it's a new start this summer for you under the BNK FearX brand. So what are your goals? I'm so happy that we're able to get our first victory under the name BNK FearX. I really hope that we can make it to Worlds, and we'll have to work so hard to get to that point, but I think that would be my main goal. And thank you so much for all the support, especially towards our CEO, and I hope that we can keep it up. And that's the end of the interview from Raptor and Closer from BNK FearX, and back to the space.